Liked by the sound of violence.
You guys have all made a career about challenging something that you perceive to be dangerous, right? You've all stepped into a situation with another man who is trained and skilled and ready to kick your ass, right? And you've done that willingly and accepted to do that. Did that attitude, whatever's it possessed inside you guys, was that required to take the step to challenge an entity like Zuffa in a situation like this?
I think so. I think I can honestly say we all hate bullies. And that's what one of the big draws of MMA is, that you get to fairly face someone down who's your same size, your same skill, and you get to see who's the best. And when you have somebody coming in who has all the cards in the deck and they're handing you a 2 and saying, go ahead and play, it just doesn't work that way. We have to stand up for ourselves.
It's like being up against a 400-pound gorilla. You know, all odds against you. That's us fighting the UFC.
All right, everyone. We're here. This has never been a time when I've done an intro, right? So this is awkward as fuck. Just kidding. What up, everybody? It's the Sound of Violence podcast here with me, Chris, your boy, and of course, my co-host, Pulver, who's going to be here in a second.
Is. I finally fucking was able to get my audio actually input into the goddamn streaming system. Shouts to OBS. I forgot I have to sync my audio every time. So, nice intro, brah.
Yeah, see, I should have gone from the top, but it's all good.
Well, it did not help that I fucked up queuing you up twice in a row, and then.
Well, I mean, I figured you were doing the Wayne's World thing. We were like 5, and then I was like, wait, it's the 3, 2, 1 thing, right? I'm like, God damn it, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So,
and by the time we got to that, we were at like 8. So I was like, all right, let's just kick this off. But anyway,
to be fair, it doesn't help that I literally can't see you. So
it doesn't. Oh right, yeah, I was gesturing. If you watch this later, you'll see I was totally gesturing.
Is this gonna be you? You're just like,
no. It's a lot of like me nodding, being like, yeah, bro, go ahead.
That's
go
fucking
ahead.
Hilarious. Yeah, because it's me just seeing nothing. I'm like, oh, cool.
That's right. Well, everybody, welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast that talks about the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. We're finally not doing a morning episode, and there's no goddamn lumberjacks taking out... By the way, they murdered that tree. They took every branch off of that tree. It's just basically a big log in the ground now.
So can you say that the awareness that has been brought to light about the Amazon should be brought to light about local neighborhoods in San Diego County?
I say we should burn the lumberjacks just like the Amazon.
Okay.
That's what we're doing with the Amazon, right? We're burning it. That's our new plan.
Yeah, it's all the I'm not going to go conspiracies, but yeah, the Amazon's dying. How else are you
going to get the drugs out of it?
Yeah, dude.
Well, on that note, why don't we go ahead and segue into our Papa Vodka Presents, Doug Stanhope Presents, our sponsor. Chris, I saw you popping open a beer. What are you drinking this week?
So I have 2 beers. That was my backup beer I cracked because it was in a can. This first beer
I actually have 2 as well.
Is from Lagunitas up in Northern California, and was it Petaluma, California. Oh, and Chicago. I forgot they're in Chicago too. So yeah. Midwest represent. It's a little something. But this time it's a hazy style.
That's a good beer.
And then I guess
I might
as well pimp out the other little sponsor here. This one here is from our friends at New English Brewing.
Nice.
This is their most popular beer called the Pure and Simple IPA. It's essentially a British IPA meets West Coast style, and it is fucking great.
That sounds like a really good combo. So like British malts and West Coast hops?
Exactly.
That sounds fantastic. I've been hearing good things about New English lately.
So have I, man. Yeah. They're kind of like one of those best kind of, or worst kept secrets, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Underrated, whatever you want to call it.
That's right. They're out in Mira Mesa, right?
Sereno Valley, I believe.
Right, yeah. So Mira Mesa adjacent.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, this week, I am drinking. First off, I am very glad. I saw that they had this beer, but I thought they only had it in Bombers. Turns out, the notorious POG is also in cans. Which
I've seen that.
I've had this a couple times at Stone Liberty Station. It's, of course, a POG, a pineapple, orange, guava, Berliner Weiss, I believe. Yeah, Berliner Weiss. Or no, passion fruit, orange, and guava, I should say.
Okay, I gotta try that out. I've seen it at a lot of different liquor stores. I'm like, haven't I tried this? I'm like, I don't think I have.
It's delicious. You've had Pog before, right? Like that passion fruit, orange, guava, or sometimes.
No, I think I've tried it. I don't know if it's always been the same one. Is it the same?
Sometimes they do pineapple instead of passion fruit. So it's different. Sometimes different levels.
I think it might have had the pineapple one.
Yeah, it's like a very juicy Hawaiian blend, if I remember right. But they did a Berliner Weiss of it, and it's fucking delicious. I like it better on tap at Stone, but I mean, you can say that about just about any Berliner Weiss ever. But it's very tasty. So I'm excited about that. I also do have a different beer for our second breakdown segment, which is, we'll say, card related, which will be interesting because I haven't had that beer in a long time. Actually, it's one of G6's favorite beers, if I remember right. And then I also, as my backup for this first segment, have my favorite cheap beer, Genesee Cream Ale.
Yep.
That is the go-to. I think it was like $2 at Bevmo.
I would say that or at Jimbo's.
Yeah, they just started getting it at Par Liquor, too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I fucking love Genesee Cream Ale. It is delicious for how cheap it is. But I guess since we're not a beer show, despite my best efforts, why don't we go ahead and get into format? We did take last week off. We were thinking about doing a commentary, but I had a bunch of car shit I had to get done, and it's a crazy week. So we will do a commentary one of the weeks here coming up. But why don't we go ahead and get into our regular format? Chris, you want to start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
Yeah, let me go ahead and look at my, of course, very, lengthy amount of notes. Just kidding. Just a caveat here. I am in a two very competitive fantasy football leagues. I know people are like, oh, football, fuck you, but it's for a lot of money. So sorry. Anyways, the first one I'll get into, and I'm mentioning every one of these. Might as well get into this, even though as much as I don't want to. But this is the only podcast that had a good reaction to this whole bullshit that happened with a certain shill.
Oh, here we go.
Eurobash. And the reason
I
why I choose this one,
Eurobash
it was good because you get two Irish co-hosts that know how the Irish perceive Mr. Conor McGregor. So they kind of reflected on. They didn't say Ariel is a shill. I'm saying that. I put that in my notes. Because you can't be a journalist. This is the thing, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. In Twitter, and we already know this. You can't conduct an interview and pimp it out on SportsCenter. This was on fucking SportsCenter. People didn't realize it was like a big deal. You can't have your interview for 45 minutes, granted, which that's a big fucking deal. And then all of a sudden the next day you tweet out a response to your interview because you got criticized and go, oh, here's what I meant to say. That's not how that works. And you shouldn't also say ethically, oh, thank you for fucking taking the time to reach. You just don't do that.
Yeah, you can't say thank you for taking the time.
You can't say
they
thank
reached
you.
out to you.
Like, you fucking shill asshole.
Well, I believe this is Eurobash episode 50.
Yes, it was 50. Yeah, they said, can't believe we're at 50. So this was a solid episode. By the way, I have like 5 to 6 skips based, and no disrespect to these shows. Like you said, Eugene S. Robinson says, doesn't mean your show sucks just because I didn't want to listen to it. But most of the shows I wanted to listen to, in the description, it's like, we heavily break down the McGregor. It's like, dude, I don't want to listen about that. But then when I looked at Eurobash, I'm like, well, these guys are Irish, so I kind of want to hear what they have to say. And Niall and Peter Carroll did a fucking great job. They kind of broke down what the Irish fans think, according to them, too. And apparently a lot of people are like, oh, well, Connor's an asshole, fuck his whiskey, right? Don't punch an old man in a bar, that kind of thing. And
I mean, aside from the old man or whatever, or Conor
aside
McGregor
from,
being
aside
an
from
Irish
that,
sports star, it's a terrible whiskey.
It's not good.
We've done a review of it.
It's a whiskey you mixed with soda, right? Whatever. It's like,
it just tastes like nothing but fire.
It's like, I need something to start the night. Give me some shitty Proper 12 and some Coke.
I'd rather have vodka.
Excuse me, Coca-Cola, because if I say some Coke in a lot of different places, it means certain things.
Especially when talking about Conor McGregor.
Yeah, so take that as you will. But it was good. They had a good interview with Mark Henry, who's the coach, of his gym in Ricardo Almeida up in Toms River, New Jersey. With the likes of Frankie Edgar. He talked about Frankie. He talked about Conor, kind of mentioning Frankie, saying, oh, he'd be a great warm-up fight. It's like, whatever, and he's just saying Conor didn't want to take that fight 5 years ago, so he can say whatever the fuck he wants. And then again, fucking Frankie's down at 135 now, so we'll see what's going to go about with that.
Yeah, my favorite shit with all this is it then immediately prompted every MMA podcast to just say, so who should Conor fight next? You're like, hey, y'all.
Hey.
Does no one remember the first half of this? And also, there's the whole Irish sports star thing that everybody just.
So let's get this out of the way. In my opinion, I believe in your opinion too. The only logical person he should fight right now is someone
the court system, so that he can avoid fucking jail time for rape.
That's the pretense, right? That's the precursor.
Yeah.
Logically, if you were to ask, so who should he fight or whom should he fight, right? Simply, Justin Gaethje.
I mean, yeah,
that's
but
it.
But we're so far out from anything like that happening. We're like years.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm answering that question, that's the only answer. That's it.
I mean, it's the most fun answer for sure. But also, it's like asking who Ronda should fight next. Like, there's a lot of things that need to happen before that person fights.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So, that's why I had to mention that. This is my thing. I don't have any catches. I have a bunch of skips. But, I mean, there's some solid stuff I listened to, but my notes were pretty limited because I was driving half the time to work. So apologies on my part for being pretty sloppy as far as what I listened to. I'll try my best to kind of just – I'll obviously, whatever you talk about, I'll fucking play off of it too, because I still pay attention to Twitter, as much of a cesspool as that can be, especially surrounding anything, really. You could fucking talk about animals and some asshole will find some way to bring it down. I mean, you could talk about someone rescuing a fucking litter of puppies and some asshole will figure out a way to make it fucked up. That's just how Twitter works. It's just
I like to think our Twitter is pretty fucking curated, though. Ours is pretty goddamn positive overall, unless we're just
for sure. I agree.
Straight up retweeting Mike Russell shit or something like that. But
shouts out to Judo Bill.
Yeah, shouts to
not in a bad way, though. That's pretty
speaking
funny.
of which, shit, I need to hit up Judo Bill in the MMA community. He asked me a question last week. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. If you guys haven't listened to podcasts in the last few weeks, Judo Bill sent me a question on the MMA community, which I'm going to send him a response, but when I give it here as well. Judo Bill was out of town for a couple weeks, and he asked me what's been going on in MMA podcasts over the last month or so. And I guess the real answer in that is not a lot, but also a whole fuck ton. Like, all the shows are still doing the same content they're always doing, except for all of the big shows either no longer exist or exist in a very different format. Luke Thomas doesn't do anything recent, and that was in the last month or two. Fucking MMA Junkie is dead. Or, well, that's not true. They're doing 40 or 50-minute shows twice a week. That's completely different. There is... Of course, Ariel's show, everybody keeps telling me, like, people who I know have liked that show in the past have let me know that they can't fucking stand it anymore. And that was before the Conor interview. I'm sure after the Conor interview, it didn't get better. So.
That was the final nail in the coffin for me. I was kind of already on, like, the edge of the plank, whatever kind of metaphor you want to, align his show with, I was kind of like, well, I already don't listen to the show. And then once I saw the content thing, I'm like, well, now I'm never listening to the show, like ever.
Yeah. We'll get into that here in a minute.
So
that might actually be relevant to one of my skips for this week. So we'll get to that here in a minute.
Skip.
Skip.
Yeah.
Speaking of Skip, god damn it, that asshole.
Oh, dude, I would say as an NFL, as still like I told you, I don't like the Chargers more, but as still someone who, like I said, I like the NFL because I want to make money. And fantasy football, like watching Skip and Shannon is just pure comedy to me. Unless you like Colin Cowherd, he's a fucking piece of shit on Fox. Just don't watch Fox Sports. But the only thing worth watching on that program is Shannon Sharp because he's great. Like he's pretty brilliant. Like he usually makes good talking points. It's just Skip who has to be the troll.
And he's funny and shit.
He's hilarious. Yeah, follow Shannon Sharp. I've said before, follow him on Instagram. The dude is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's no Stephen A. Smith, but.
Yeah, right. Think about triggering people. He loves to trigger fucking Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, stick to boxing.
Remember when they had fucking Stephen A. Smith on the UFC broadcast that one time, and then everybody.
You know what's ironic though? He even admitted, like, I've been watching UFC since like Tito and Shamrock, and like I'm sure he's not lying. Like I could
100%. He hasn't watched it since he was relevant in anything.
Yeah, but no, that's his point. He probably was like thinking, I watched that fight, but after that, it's been like 10 years.
More than that. It's been like almost 2 decades.
That was his point. The first fight I ever watched was Tito and Shamrock, and then now back to me today. It's just like, okay.
Yep.
And I like Stephen A. Smith. I like him. He's there to get his point across. And the guy is legitimately like, he's a smart mind, but then again, when you work for a big fucking company, you're paid X amount of money to say shit. I would do the same fucking thing. Yeah. Except in my written work, I would be honest. It's your honesty is in your written work. And people don't realize it because you're not on camera. You know what I mean?
Fuck that shit. My honesty is in everything.
Yeah. Hey, he's like, my honesty
journalistic
is in
integrity,
the paper.
you fucks.
The paper, baby.
Oh my god. Goddamn journalists. Ariel has that same approach. All his honesty is in his written work.
Oh no, Ariel's just like this. Connor, you punched that old man. That was absolutely disgusting, but all the S's and absolutely disgusting are in dollar signs, right?
I'm sorry. I didn't know his Twitter counted as written work. I was making the joke that he has 0 written work. When was the last time Ariel wrote an article?
I couldn't tell you.
Has he ever written an article? I'm sure he did back on the Jerry Park forum, or Jerry Park days or whatever, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, so off topic. We'll get to Ariel here in a minute. My catch for this week is Grange TV, episode 54. Yeah,
this is the one where, well, I won't spoil it.
Go ahead.
Whitaker talks about dealing with depression, right?
Yeah, it talks a lot about it, and that's why it was a big
I got
catch
some snippets of this. And, I'll say honestly, I can relate to it a lot, which is why I enjoyed it. I thought it was very candid, very honest.
Super candid, in a crazy way.
Hats off to him for being able to kind of, not saying man up, but it takes a lot of courage to do that. I know people, as corny as that may sound or whatever, there's a lot of truth to that. So, because a lot of people deal with that kind of stuff, and I'll just say this. It's always a relief when you have someone to talk to about it. I'm telling you, that's how that works. If you're able to talk to anyone or someone about it,
or even just out loud about it,
or just it makes you feel better. So, hats off to him 100%. I love that Rob Whitaker did that, and that he's at a better place right now because I know that he talked about it now. That dude is so fucking hyper focused on his next fight, and you can tell that dude is not fucking around.
Definitely. And that was actually one of the things he talked about is how he's been going out of his way to talk more about it. Because, excuse me, man, fucking Jesus Christ, this beer is carbonated. He goes out of his way to talk about it more now because, number one, it makes him feel better in the long run and it forces him to do it. And number two, it helps other people just by hearing it out loud. And it was a lot of really interesting, really deep shit about, like how it affects him, and he kept describing it as this slow, subtle and creeping thing that you don't notice until you're drowning in it, and you look around and nobody's responding to you for calls or texts anymore. It's like a really, really dark and really genuine observations about it, and just how he'll talk to people and they'll be like, "Oh, you just need to go to the gym and you'll be feeling better and it'll get you out of your funk." And he's like, "That shit makes it so much worse. Like if I go to the gym, it makes it so much worse. That's the last thing I need right then is to see other people doing well. That shit just cripples me." And I just thought it was so honest and so genuine. And he's always been that dude. But for him to be able to be open about that shit while being, because he's always been honest and genuine, but he hasn't always been open about all the depression and isolationist like tendencies he tends to have. So I just thought it was really interesting and very, very genuine. And then also they made the great joke that they start talking about fights about an hour in, and the co-host, whose name I always forget, his coach.
Oh, it's Fab.
Yeah, thank you.
FAB, yeah.
Yeah,
Fab.
yeah. I always fuck that up because I always think of Fabiano Scherner from ATT Portland, and then I have a panic attack about which one it is. Yeah. Anyway, but he makes the joke that 103 is when Fight Talk starts on the podcast because you know somebody's gonna comment that shit, which I thought was hilarious and real funny. They also talk a bit about Till moving up, talk a little bit about fighting games, and Rob tries to explain MMORPGs, which is real funny.
It's fucking great.
They also
I was gonna say he talked about WoW Classic. Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. They also talk a lot. Actually, they cross-streamed that episode on Twitch, which was the first one they did.
Oh,
which,
nice.
We're going to start doing some cross-streaming on other platforms as well. It's going to look the same everywhere. I just have to hit an extra button, and it does it. I just have been lazy, and I've got way too much shit going on. So I promise next week we will either have more graphics or we will have some cross-streaming going on. One of the two. And what was the other thing that... Oh, they talked a lot about his camp in the lead up to this fight and the difference in the camp to the lead up to the Gaslam fight. And it was just really interesting to hear. They talk about how much his coaches do tape study and how long to the camp that lasts. His coach talks a lot about Fab talks a lot about the importance of working with coaches who will work together around an athlete and not just each have their own agenda, just like regardless. And they also talk about the importance of training boxing against boxers and jiu-jitsu against jiu-jitsu players and that sort of thing. So just a really interesting episode, and I really enjoyed it. Rob's one of the smartest people in the sport, one of the most genuine people in the sport, and I'm just a big fan of the guy, and I thought this was a really kind of eye-opening episode. And if you're somebody who doesn't deal with depression or anxiety or any of that stuff, it's a really good eye-opener. It's not like that Joe Rogan shit where it's like, "Oh, bro, you just gotta get up and go for a walk, dog," because I'm Joe Rogan, and as I've said many times on my podcast, I've never experienced depression. So
See,
I'm the exact opposite of Rogan, whereas I've never not experienced it. I remember being like 6 and being bummed out about
don't get me wrong. So. It's entirely possible that it's entirely possible that some people that have never dealt with that, because you don't technically recognize depression initially. It's just kind of like a certain feeling. So
some people just aren't built for it.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Joe Rogan has never been depressed. It's entirely possible. It's all
he said out loud he's never really dealt with depression or anxiety or any of that.
So, and that's great. I hope he doesn't have to deal with that. Yeah. I really don't know anyone for that matter. But yeah, as far as like the way I deal with that shit is I just work out. For me, it helps because it kind of gets like your blood flowing and it distracts your mind. But like everyone, like you said, everyone deals with it in their own way. Smoke weed, whatever, for me that helps too, kind of distracts your mind. There's a lot of different ways you can do it.
MMA podcasts sometimes help with depression.
Yeah, MMA podcasts, this is the podcast. This is what people say.
Honestly,
read
podcasts
uplifting news, look at videos of fucking cute animals, anything. It doesn't matter.
No, that shit makes me more depressed and more angry. But honestly, podcasts are a big way of how I've dealt with depression and anxiety over the years since I listened to Loveline on the radio with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. Loveline, coast to coast. I mean, everybody deals with it differently, but I thought it was very cool to hear Robert talk so openly about it, and especially so close to a camp too, or so close to a fight. He's fighting what, like couple weeks?
Oh, what is it, like October 5th?
Yeah, so 4 weeks, just about. So. Pretty wild and cool to hear of him. So, highly recommend checking out Grange TV episode 54. And he also talked about why he was so cranky during Grange TV episode 53. Because he was just pissed off and not in the mood to talk to people. So, I thought that was funny. But, yeah, overall, a very good episode. Let's see. So, you had a whole bunch of skips this week, but I'm going to cue you up for those. So, as we say on this show, in honor, similar to the Eugene S. Robinson style disclaimer, just because we hate your show doesn't mean we hate you, necessarily. Or we hate your show, necessarily. But it means it was not worth the time we took to listen to it. And my skip for this week is Ariel's MMA show, the interview with Conor McGregor. Because I don't know about you, but I don't need to listen to a 40-minute PR interview.
A fluff piece.
I mean, it was literally just Conor repeating shit that his PR team told him to say, and Ariel queuing him up for shit that his PR team told him to say.
Niall and PT Carroll mentioned, how uncomfortable did Conor look and feel like? Dude, that motherfucker.
So
and he just was so much to do that in the UFC. I mean, technically, you can't afford to do it in boxing either. But then again, we've seen historically boxing is more forgiving. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess I'm kind of looking at Tyson. He went to fucking prison and he came back. You know what I'm trying to say?
You mean the other alleged rapist?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say though. Who was besides John Jones? I guess.
You mean the other guy with the coke problem and assault?
But you see what I'm trying to say? In combat sports, and I'm not making this comparison between mixed martial arts and boxing because that's not really fair. Because boxing is more on the prize fighting level. I know UFC's kind of. No, that's not still because they're still underpaid. I guess. That. See, I guess I'm kind of now sound like Conor that I'm making certain points, but then it's kind of hard to kind of find
a reason to make any real of this shit matter.
Yeah, a real distinct kind of not necessarily an argument, a real distinct kind of what's your fucking play here? What's the fucking point you're trying to make, right? And my point is, I think Conor's confused. I think he doesn't know what he wants to do at this point. I think he still wants to make money. He has his shitty whiskey for that. He did this interview to get himself back into relevance, and that was the point of a lot of podcasts talking about that because that brings his relevance back up. And I think it truly
somehow got him talking about all the fucking potential fights that won't happen for 2 years. Happen.
Yeah, no. So. That's you and I recognize that for sure, as do other people. In a perfect world, do I want to see him back? Yeah, I would love to see him fight Justin Gaethje. If I'm fucking a matchmaker, that's what I make. I make that fight happen. That'd be a banger of a fight. That'd be fucking cool as shit. That's what I make at 155 for sure.
It would be a crackerjack of a fight, as Sean Shea would say.
Yeah, either. Other than that, it's just deal out your problems you're dealing with, man. Don't come back to the octagon until all your shit's sorted out. Regardless,
he's not gonna get a fucking chance. Here's the thing: is.
And I'm being fair to him. I know he's doing that. I'm not saying
you're being way too fair.
No. Listen, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm letting due process do its thing. I'm just talking about in my world. I hope he comes back and then he fights Justin Gaethje. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I fucking doubt that's going to happen at this point. But I'm just saying if I was saying if anything happened, let's have a fight. But no. All that due process has to happen, and that's going to happen. But yeah, realistically, that motherfucker's not come back for a while. So
no,
sorry, I just had to get that out of the way. I'm not trying to be like a Conor show because I'm not. I like McGregor as a fighter. Outside of that, bro, deal with your shit. I'm talking. This is an MMA podcast. We're talking about just MMA fights and. We want to see our favorite fighters in the octagon.
We want to see people fight.
We want to see. That's the fucking point, and that's So
Here's my whole thing. I just have a problem with Ariel doing PR for the UFC, which is what this was.
Yeah.
If I would be amazed if this wasn't a 100% UFC endorsed interview where the UFC had their PR team sit down with Conor and his PR team and they ironed out, hey, here are the list of questions we give to Ariel. You're going to answer these lists of questions.
Yep.
Ariel being Ariel will of course go off the reservation very slightly, but not in any ways where he's going to have to cry on camera again. And we will just move along like we're all fucking good. Oh, also, we'll ask 14 questions about why Conor fights next. But that dude is 100% in the Eugene S. Robinson Lost Battalion.
Yep.
That dude is misty as fuck. When you know that you're under rape allegations. You should also know that's why you're not getting booked for fights. And that you then, for you to say phrases like, why am I outlawed and why won't anybody have me on their shows? It's like, number one, motherfucker, you'll get on shows if you want, but they're not going to ask you the questions you want to have fed to you. They're not going to ask you about a Nate Diaz trilogy. They're going to be like, yo, so how about that girl you allegedly raped in the hotel? And number two, I don't know how you, like, the amount of bravado and arrogance it takes to not know that's the reason and then to try and play the victim of, like, what, Ariel, why have I not been on in a year or whatever? Like, oh, come on, we were buddies. Why haven't I been on? Like, number one, we all know Ariel's been trying to suck your dick to get you back on. And number two, we all know why you're not on. It's because you won't talk about the actual thing, and everybody's terrified that someone's going to ask you about the thing. Also, at which one point I did hear that someone asked Dana White at one of the Contender Series scrums about the Irish sports star allegations, and I heard Dana White's quote was, "It's not him." I was like, oh, that's...
Okay.
I guess that's one way to play it, sir. The New York Times disagrees, but, you know, Dana White probably knows better than the New York Times.
Yeah, the New York Times, pretty much the biggest publication in the whole country, if one of the biggest in the entire world. Really.
Yeah. And even though their reputation is kind of hot garbage nowadays compared to what it used to be, but for those kinds of stories, those are still pretty credible stories that they put out. And for them to put it out and for everyone to ignore it, including all of MMA media, which, hey, none of you pussies go to Ireland. None of you are subject to Irish libel laws or slander laws. I don't know why the fuck everyone's so terrified, except for Eugene S. Robinson and this show and like a couple others. It's fucking insane to me. But when it's to the point where where Gorgeous George and Goes are coming out on podcasts and saying Conor looks like he's on drugs, like straight up saying he looks like he's on drugs, like we have officially jumped the fucking shark. This is also when I'm going to stop talking about him again, because this is what he does. He comes in, he says 2 comments, no one brings up the big elephant in the room, and we all talk about what fights he's supposed to be in, like they're ever gonna fucking happen until 2021 or beyond. So, yeah, go ahead, and this is where Chris gets to list off all the podcasts he wants to skip, because they all talked about it.
Oh, to be fair, so the first one I'll skip, and I'll say this, there's like 6 total. The other 5, I can't really name it off the top of my head. The first one that I want to skip...
To be fair, I can just scroll through my notes and find you like
7.
No,
you'll just remind me. Like, you'll name them, like, oh, yeah, that's it. And that one. And that one. Oh, yeah, and that one. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
The first one, and then you'll remind me. Believe you me, it was the first episode they had. It was on Monday. It's one called A Fair Hand. I'll just say this. 30 minutes into the podcast, they hadn't talked anything about MMA. They talked about the homeless crisis in the United States.
What are they doing on that show?
And Lewis says they should send all the homeless people to Texas just because everything's bigger in Texas and they have massive parking. I'm like, dude, I know you're funny. And yes, I listen to you mostly because you guys gel really well and have good chemistry. But it's like, dude, I want you to convince me that the card tonight, right? I don't know. So go ahead and name off your skips.
So that was episode 156. Here, I'm just on MMApodcast.com. I'm just going to scroll up and mention everyone that has criticism of Conor McGregor.
I'll say this. Besides Ariel, who I've blacklisted
for me.
That's what it is, yeah. If it's like a certain... It's just guest, yeah. If it's Johnny English, I'm down. That dude's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
But if it's Phoenix Carnivale, sorry...
Yeah, like Aljo guested on Monday. That was pretty good.
Yeah, he's cool. God, that reminds me of that whole fucking shitstorm's happening with just 135, 125. Like, what the fuck?
So MMA, I'm going to keep on moving on because otherwise we're never going to get through it. MMA ratings actually had some good talk about Conor McGregor, or some like legit conversations about it. So that was actually more legit. MMA takes, let's see, Conor interview reaction. MMA Junkie Radio 2979. Dana White's comments on Conor McGregor New York Times. Well, actually, that one I should check out. Dana White's comments on Conor McGregor's New York Times article.
Dude, didn't he literally say, like, oh, it's all alleged, and then, like, the whole bar thing is, hasn't someone said something fucked up to you, bro?
I'm sure. He's an idiot. Let's see. TSN MMA show, Conor McGregor's interview. Oh, I know the MMA Roadshow talked about it because I listened to that. Oh my god, this is just from this week.
Watch, someone will tweet us, you guys just hate Connor, you fucking haters.
No, I'm not a big fan of alleged rapist. And also, he's not as clever as you think he is.
I would just say this.
Yeah,
hey,
that's
asshole, clear
that's
issues.
the majority of them. But
Yeah.
everyone did it. Almost everyone did it. So I want to shout out everybody who didn't do it this week. Because drove me nuts. All right, well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, and we're not going to say Irish Sports Star's name anymore for a while, unless we just say Irish Sports Star, because you know who we're talking about. Chris, do you have any can't miss episodes for this week?
Not really, but I'll make some good mentions.
Okay, we'll get to those in a minute then.
I'll let you do your thing.
I've got a couple solid can't miss episodes. The first of which was our intro for this week, which is Gross Point Blank. It is Kung Lee, John Fitch, Nate Quarry, and Kyle Kingsbury on the UFC antitrust lawsuit. And it is really, really fucking interesting. This is on The Athletic. It's one of their podcasts. Of course, Gross Point Blank, hosted by Josh Gross, is all about that. He's been in Vegas all week for the antitrust hearings that are happening. Currently, those fighters are trying to get a class certification for a antitrust lawsuit against the UFC. They're in the process of doing that. If they do get class certification, then they can have all 1,200 fighters that are fit within the time frame that are part of the lawsuit. All of them can file the lawsuit as a joint, as like a big class action lawsuit, rather than each of them having to sue individually, which lawyers don't really take the time for. But if they can all do it together as a combined effort, then lawyers are interested in doing it. And man, is there some interesting shit happening down there. There are all kinds of numbers coming out. I'll get to that in a bit. But holy fuck, is this a huge deal in the MMA media space and just MMA in general. If this goes the way it's starting to sound like it might, of course there's going to be appeals and it's going to get drawn out over years, but it is sounding like it could very seriously change either the business model for the sport or definitely compensation that the UFC might have to deal with. Which I'm still not sure whether that's Zuffa or whether that includes Endeavor. It just depends on how their contract is written up. But it's very interesting, and the reason why this is a can't miss for me is because very rarely do you get to hear fighters talk about this kind of shit where they're same shit as Leslie Smith talking out. They are absolutely the underdog going up against a giant multi-billion dollar at this point corporation, and they're just trying to get fucking paid for what they feel like they should have been paid. And it's interesting to hear them kind of talk about it. They talk a lot about the conversations that are happening in the courtroom that are interesting to hear is you hear pretty clearly that one of the main arguments from both the UFC side and from the plaintiff side is whether UFC fighters are the product or whether the UFC events are the product. Like whether fighters themselves are the product or if it's just UFC event is all that matters and the fighters are just cards in a deck. And it's really interesting to hear them make those arguments. Singer and Topel are the two major... I don't know what to actually call them. I probably have it in my notes somewhere. Essentially, they're two financial experts who are putting together tables that kind of break down how fighters have been losing money because of the UFC's efforts to not pay them according to how they should be paid. I am going to very, very baseline all this, since I am by no means a legal or financial expert. Shit, I'm not a financial expert, and I'm doubly so not a legal expert, considering I've been on the wrong side of both of those for most of my life. But it's just really interesting. One thing I will give this some criticism for this episode: Josh Gross keeps popping his peas into the mic and blowing out the mic a little bit.
It's funny.
But yeah, they all seem very positive about how the judge's position on the case seems to be so far. They talk about why they're pursuing the lawsuit, and essentially stuff like being forced to sign contracts, in that if you don't sign the contract, they'll just sit you, or they'll give you terrible matchups, or just fuck you in the long run, which a lot of that's coming out over deposition. Shit like Joe Silva saying at the Fighter Summit, if you don't like the first fighter I offer you, you sure as shit aren't going to like the second. Shit like that, where you're like, oh, it's not a good look. They mentioned how big a deal the case is, and how it's insane that there's only 4 people in the media there in the courtroom covering it, 3 of which work for Bloody Elbow, which is fucking ludicrous. And the other one is Josh Gross. So there's literally, I think, well, that's not true. I think Body Lock MMA has been doing some articles, and I believe, I want to say Sherdog has as well. But it's crazy how little outlets have been covering this at all, and it kind of questions where their loyalties lie, that they wouldn't be covering a lawsuit against the UFC by former fighters who are sitting in the courtroom in Vegas. Kind of crazy to me that more people wouldn't cover that. To be fair, though, to those outlets, John Morgan even said on his podcast, the MMA Roadshow this week, that they don't have financial columnists on staff. So, like, the nitty-gritty of day-to-day lawsuit shit is really hard for them to follow. So it's easier for them to do, like, a big recap article kind of thing, which he says is coming. So we'll see what that actually looks like. But as you guys heard on our intro, I actually played a clip of this. The Athletic, please don't kill me. I'm just trying to support your fucking show and how good this is. And Josh Gross did a great thing. It's less than a minute and I put music under it. Don't kill me. But it is a clip of Kyle Kingsbury, and I believe it was John Fitch and Kung. Maybe it was Nate. I'm trying to remember who I actually have in the clip. I know Kung Lee's in the clip. I think Nate Quarry's in the clip. But it's essentially them talking about how the reason they're doing this is the same reason they fight. It's because they fucking hate bullies, and that's an entire thing with all this.
That's admirable.
Yeah, it's just very, very interesting. So I highly recommend checking that out. And then my part 2 of Can't Miss is the other side of the people who are actually covering this shit, which is Show Money, hosted by John Nash, Paul Gift, and Jason Cruz. This is the show who, as we've been talking about, oh, that's a fun noise. That's a garage door, everybody. Why would you? Anyway, so Show Money is really interesting. You guys have heard us talk about it in the last couple weeks leading up to this. And they did 3 episodes. They might actually be putting one out tonight on Friday. They said they were kind of up in the air on it. But they did an episode on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all covering each day of the hearings. And it's really, really interesting. Also, fun note, they are taping it at a restaurant after court, or it sounds like a bar, but it might be, we'll call it a restaurant. It sounds like a bar. And the first day, Jason Cruz lost a bet, so he's drinking a triple Hennessy, and by the end of the episode is hammered.
Triple Hennessy, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, triple Hennessy and a shot, I believe, which was hilarious.
Just go to sleep at that point.
He basically did. Actually, he did go to sleep after that because he did not show up on the podcast the next day because he was hungover. Let's see. But they go into the nitty-gritty stuff of the court case. They do mention some very interesting stats that came out. One thing that's interesting is the judge said that, so there's a big report called the Singer Report, which is a report that one of the people who did the calculations and all the expert stuff, expert financial witness or whatever you want to call him, he did. So essentially they ruled all of the stuff in that report can't be redacted. So there's going to be a lot more information coming out. Because remember, there was those crazy redacted documents that were just pages of black lines because Zuffa was like, oh, we can't give away our numbers, bro. So some interesting stuff that came out in this that were clear numbers. The UFC stating in the sale that they are going to, like, in the sale to, like, in the documents for Endeavor, it said that the wage share was going to stay at 20% for fighters. That was a constant. They're like, you can just keep the wage share at 20% for fighters, and that was in the documentation. For some perspective, Strikeforce, when it was closing, the wage share for that was 63%. So 63% of the wage that came, or the revenue that came in to the organization went to the fighters. Or I guess the profit went to the fighters. In Bellator, it's 40%.
Okay.
In the UFC, it's 20%.
Oh, dude, I fucking saw someone post this. Yeah.
Which is insane.
Dude, because I remember someone was, they were bringing up boxing pay. I'm like, dude, first of all, you're going to get way more money boxing regardless, so you can't compare that to mixed martial arts.
React.
So, I mean, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Like, wow, so it's 60, and what'd you say it was? One?
Strikeforce is 63,
Strikeforce.
Bellator is 40, and UFC is 20.
Wait, so what's one right now? Because I know DJ was talking about.
One is impossible to actually know the numbers on because they lie about all their numbers. And DJ also said they were giving their shit to WADA, which is not true. WADA has come out and said one doesn't work with WADA, or WADA doesn't work with
I would
one.
guess one is like 30-something, 40 to. I mean,
I would say it's probably a lot less than that because they fuck a lot. Well, you got to realize they just came out with a thing where they now make management money on top of.
Oh fuck, that's a good point.
And they are, I would be surprised if them and Combate probably have lower wage shares than fucking. Like, they have some cards where they're paying dudes like 600 and 600. Like, it's really bad. Yeah.
Really?
Both of them have had like some very bad numbers.
Fucking Chinese are brutal, man.
Well, or Combate. That's a fucking American organization who hates their fighters.
Jesus.
So some other crazy numbers that came out in this. So there's a lot of technical talk that's way above my head. Stuff about regression tables and oh god, they use I can't remember the name of it. It's regression tables and then a couple other tables that they're using to try and prove these things, where they're saying like, hey, look, you can tell by manipulating these numbers whether or not they actually lost money, and I can kind of prove it that way. It's all way fucking over my head. But some more interesting numbers that came out is UFC 200. So some stuff they actually like jotted down from slides that came up. UFC 200 had a total event revenue of $55.3 million. UFC 200 had $19.9 million in fighter pay. So that's.
Say it again. Did you say five?
So $55.3 million event revenue.
Oh, okay.
$19.9 million in fighter pay. So they made $35 million on that event. That event was one of the events that is notable because it had Brock Lesnar and it had a whole bunch of fighters who actually got more. So that's actually a much higher percentage of fighter pay.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound too bad. Like,
no.
That's pretty...
But UFC 111, which had GSP on it, it made $28.1 million in event revenue. They paid the fighters $3.8 million.
Oh, fuck.
And that includes GSP.
Yeah.
So... there's some crazy numbers coming out of this. From what everybody's saying, from the people in the courtroom to Josh Gross and Josh Gross and John Nash and all the people in the courtroom to the fighters who were there, everybody seems to be feeling like the judge is leaning towards the side of the plaintiffs. And if that's the case, then he's gonna grant them class cert, which means, of course, the UFC lawyers are going to appeal. But John Nash said he overheard one of the UFC lawyers in a corner talking too loudly about how they are probably already talking about the process of appealing or settling, which is crazy. So this is drastically going to impact the sport, regardless of which way it goes. But especially if they get granted class cert and it actually proceeds past that, it's going to be a big fucking deal and a huge game changer in the sport. So it's insane more people aren't talking about it. Shouts out to all the podcasts who are, people like The Trenches, people like...
Yeah, glad you bring awareness. That's a real thing people should be addressing.
Yeah,
sure.
Writer and the Fighter, a lot of different shows are talking about it, and shouts to all them, because they're the fucking shows that matter. If you listen to a show this week that did not bring this topic up, either A, they're uninformed, B, they don't have the finger on the pulse, or 3, well, I don't know why it would be 3, it would probably be C. They are 100% in the pocket of somebody who doesn't want them talking about it, so.
You're doing nothing.
Yeah, speaking of people who don't want them talking about it. Ugh. Anyway, so that's my can't miss for this week, is all that content, because there was a ton of it, and it's all very fucking interesting. A lot of it's way over my head, but people have been doing some really good breakdowns and kind of discussing it in detail, so I highly recommend checking all that out. Cool, man. Did you listen to any new shows this week?
Nah, man, I listened to some fucking bullshit all week.
Well, I'll crank through a couple new shows I listened to. I don't have much to say about them. This is an MMA news show. It is on the MMA fighting feed. I listened to the one from August 26th. Esther Lin basically just rattles off recent headlines. It's like a tight 15-minute news show. She did a recap on Bellator. They still somehow managed to shove 3 fucking ads into this show, even though it's 15 minutes long.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's an ad in the middle. Actually, there might be 4. I don't remember if there was one at the beginning, but there's definitely an ad shoved in the middle.
Oh,
there's
great.
Definitely 2 ads shoved at the end of it, which fucking MMA fighting has gone off the fucking rails with their ads lately. It's atrocious. And then Alexander Kaley talks about some upcoming fights. It's fine. It's a good like recap news show. I'm excited for TJ DeSantis to come back with the Daily Wrap with Rob Tatum. I think that'll be good. Again, I like that show, and it's more of a daily. It's the same kind of format, just quickly rattling off headlines that came out. But it was all right. Weighing in, episode 8. Evidently, Big John and Josh Thompson have a show.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's exactly what you think a show with
That's
Big John
my
and Josh
reaction
Thompson would be like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's pretty good. Big John did start the episode with a really forced setup for so Josh could tell his bad travel story. But it was like fucking cartoonishly bad. I don't know if that was a gimmick or what, but it was rough. They recapped Bellator 225, talked a lot about that, and talked a lot about weight cutting and how the California State Athletic Commission's handling it. So I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I like hearing Big John on stuff, but it's weird because they both work for Bellator, and Big John's wearing a Bellator shirt, and they talked about Bellator the whole episode.
At that point, they said maybe there'll be a video that pops up on the card, and it's a video of John and Nick telling you need some help, and then the card never starts.
That's probably gonna. I'll let you guys know if that happens tonight here in a couple hours.
Yes, I won't find out, so I'll let you tell everyone that. They briefly talked about Bellator, which I kind of didn't even pay attention to. They said Frank Mir versus Roy Nelson. Laugh out loud. I don't know. Not Jose Aldo. Excuse me. Aljamain Sterling had a really lame call out on social media. I don't think I don't know. I remember Henry Cejudo.
Yep. A lot of
had something with the fucking diapers on his belts. It was stupid, but it was kind of funny. And then Dominic Cruz basically called him and his coach a midget. It's like, sure.
Yep.
I don't know. Co-main event, the funniest thing was when Sir Nigel Longstock had the faux tee as far as like fake goatee ad read. I couldn't believe that was real. I hope that's fake. Like, if you're a man, you can't grow facial hair, don't get fake facial hair.
No, just don't have facial hair.
Just don't. I just pray that you have a nice head of regular hair. So good luck in life. Other than that, Submission Radio had a great interview with Robert Whitaker. He talked about he's doing a speaking tour.
His suppression there too, right?
Yeah, he's doing a speaking tour throughout Australia. They recapped the press conference. He says Adesanya is very rattled. I thought he was. especially that funny guy with the fucking megaphone. Adesanya didn't like that. That's pretty great. They asked him about Paulo Costa claiming that he can beat Robert and Izzy on the same night. He's like, sure, if you can do that, good for him. And evidently, Colby Covington saying, I want to beat Whittaker. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Fights gone by with your boy Jack Schlack. Yeah, I guess I'll get into the nitty-gritty in our preview next.
Oh,
but
it's you talking about the one from today?
Yeah, he's like,
it was a good one.
He's like, this is the saddest fucking card I've ever seen. No joke. He's like, I'm not even kidding. He's like, I'm serious. Like, this is literally the worst card I've ever seen, like, ever.
Yeah, episode 162. He also started with a Sweet Mulan reference.
Yeah, he did. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. You know, and then he like said something else. I was like, this is pretty great.
It's the saddest card I ever knew.
Yeah. Then he's like, he talks about the rise of Chinese mixed martial arts. He said the real mixed martial artist. Granted, right? Not that Tai Chi Kung Fu bullshit that you see in the fucking movies. Shouts out to that guy who's exposing all the fake ass motherfuckers. Thank you.
The one who had to flee China.
Yeah, right. And shouts out to Tibetan martial arts, which exists, but the Chinese don't. Never mind. I'm not getting into politics. He said the main event might be the most jacked women's fight ever. I agree.
It's up there. Liz Carmouche has been in some.
Yeah. Protect Your Neck was good.
Oh, Protect Your Neck was great. Actually, I'll get it. I'll get into that here.
MMA Vivisection was really fucking good.
Yeah, it was.
Other than that,
what was the quote they had in MMA Vivisection that cracked me up? Let me see if I wrote it down.
I have a miscellaneous note.
Oh, well, first off, they called Ibragimov youth pastor, and he had a youth pastor vibe. They also, Zane was like, oh man, these prelims. And Connor just goes, the prelims, this is where the action's at, baby.
Yeah,
Zane's like, no, it's not. There's no action here. Oh,
so,
man.
I'll just say a miscellaneous note. I guess it's like my off-topic thing. I don't really give a fuck at this point. You can clearly tell how invested I am. I know it's tougher when I can't see you because I can't play off your reaction. But anyways, here goes. I've been watching Hard Knocks training camp with the Oakland Raiders. By the way, if you're a Raiders fan, I hope you don't have season tickets. They're going to be really bad this year. They don't have defense. Anyways, my point is, John Gruden, the coach of the Raiders, his son Jason, evidently, just graduated high school last year, is currently training very hard in MMA. Which is cool. The kid, I think he's like 19. He looks like he has decent stuff on the hands, in the boxing. My point is, John Gruden, I almost want to tweet at you. You're in fucking Napa Valley. Please go to AKA. You can literally afford all the money in training for your son. Please. And I don't even like the Raiders. I still hate the Raiders because I grew up hating the Raiders. But, like, from the footage I saw of your son, who's still young, like, dude, go to AKA. Just do it. That's all I want to say. That's my business. You know what I'm saying? That, like, dude, if you're a fucking NFL coach and you have money and your kid wants to be a pro fighter and you're in Northern California, go to fucking AKA, please.
Not a bad call.
That's all I'm saying. You know what? I'm probably going to tweet at him. Even I think John Gruden has I don't know, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, dude.
DC would love it, I bet.
And it's great that they had it on Hard Knocks because Hard Knocks is fantastic, whether you like football or not. It's just kind of like that.
Really been liking it
authentic, visceral look at football. Like John Gruden's hilarious. So, like I like him. You know, like sure, I still hate the Raiders. Like it doesn't matter, but it's just like it's entertaining. And yeah, once I saw they had footage of his kid doing MMA, I'm like, dude, this kid, if he's 19 and he looks that sharp, dude, go to AKA. This kid could be something, maybe. You know,
you already know he's gone to Jay Glazer's gym a couple
times.
No.
Well, yeah, right. He has all the best. He has all. His dad has. You know my point, bro. You have all that money, and you want your kid to be successful.
Angry, and then everybody gets blackballed, which is fucking ludicrous, and shows MMA media in this sport is not really MMA media. But I wanted to shout this out because Luke Thomas literally went out and he asked of all of his peers in MMA media to just start asking hard fucking questions because it'll make everybody better. It'll make the sport better. It'll make the media better. It'll make them all more credible. Just everybody start doing it, and then they can't. If they ban everybody, they look bad. But that'll never happen because MMA media is a lot of cowards. I like a lot of them too, but they won't ask the questions that are gonna get them less access. MMA Junkie Radio episode 2978. I mentioned that Gorgeous George said that Connor looked like he's coming off coke binge, and just how ridiculous all that was. Heavy Hands episode 277 and 278 were very good. Just really solid breakdowns of both of those. They mentioned Diaz looked kind of rusty early in his fight, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we should we quickly recap 2 weeks ago, because that fight card was absolutely insane.
It was insane. I feel like it was so long ago that I'm not going to have many recaps. But can we give credit to Stipe for having maybe the single greatest mid-round
comeback
realization of change of strategy
I'll say
adaptation
ever? This is a Stipe that we expected from a year ago. And no disrespect to Daniel Cormier at all. No respect. Daniel Cormier is still a motherfucker, of course, at heavyweight, regardless at lightweight. But my opinion on this fight is Stipe's great at range with his jab. However, his defense, it's not overrated. It's just it's not as good as it should be, considering he's a Golden Gloves winner, right?
Golden Gloves is Adam Carolla is a Golden Gloves boxer.
Yeah, but you see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
My point is, DC, granted, he's a lot shorter and smaller than Stipe. His hand speed's insanely quick. We saw that. He kind of darts in, keeps his hand low. It's like this,
awkward,
and he keeps his hands low, because if you keep your hands low, your guard's low. You can't read, with the hips and with the shoulder rolls. You can't read that. So if your hands are low, it's kind of like what Stephen Thompson does, a lot of the karate fighters do, which is kind of ironic because Cormier is not a karate fighter at all, right? He kind of keeps his hands on right there and kind of slides slower moving it, and just kind of pops up like that.
Well, and he's already shorter, so that helps with that too.
Yeah.
It's that Hitman Hearns jab where it comes from the hip.
The point is, how did you score that going to the fourth round? Because
I had DC up.
I had 2-1 DC.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide, and this is a good point, if you give it round 2 or 3 to Stipe.
I have to rewatch it. I just know
the more I thought about it, I gave it round 2 to Stipe because he had really significant. So either way, I don't think it was 3-0. I know John Emmett was like, it might be 3. It wasn't. Yeah. You can make an argument.
They were competitive, at least.
Don't get me wrong. You make an argument, but I definitely think Stipe won one of those the second or third round. Yeah. The point is, I remember Dominic Cruz, granted weather, and don't get me wrong, he's kind of gotten a little weird sometimes commentary. I thought he was great on this card because he kind of was reserved and he kind of talked when he wanted to. He made a good point. He's like, now is when Stipe should go to the body. He's like, Daniel's kind of keeping his hands low. It's not guarded, He's a big boy.
Well, he's notoriously hittable to the body, too.
Yeah. And then once Cruz said that, a fucking round later, what does Stipe do? Bam! Just keeps landing that the fucking liver shot.
Not only did Stipe figure out that the body was open in the fourth, but he read it. He threw it. He read it, and then he went back to it, and he just stuck to that. And it was one of the greatest in-round reads.
Honestly, one of the greatest wins I've ever seen.
Yeah,
hands down.
It was a really impressive read mid-fight. To be able to read that's open. I mean. His camp even said, and everybody said DC's open to the body, but for him to recognize mid-round 4, hey, I should try this, try it, recognize it worked, and then go back to that well without getting over zealous with it was very fucking impressive.
So while we're on that topic, what would you like to see? And being biased, what would you like to see at heavyweight? But what do you think? I guess it's kind of a loaded question. Yeah, I would love to see that rubber match.
I don't really care about the rest of that heavyweight division. I'm not
Francis for Stipe, sure, but it's like
I don't think Francis can wrestle yet.
John Jones for Stipe, I don't care about either because I think Stipe either fucking rocks Jones to the body or just kind of jabs him from reach. I know Jones has the capabilities to cause problems Stipe too, but like, does his power here? We don't know because we've never seen Jones heavyweight. And it's like it's not gonna be a wrestling match. Fuck no. If Jones fights Stipe, there's no grappling. I almost would put money on that. for sure. Unless Jones feels threatened like he did against Santos, but again he didn't.
I think a lot of that fight might take place in the clinch.
Yeah.
I think Jones might try
either way, I think what happens is you do Stipe GC3, which I want to see at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the fight I want to see.
Or they just do Stipe and Ngannou too, because I think Ngannou deserves a shot.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's been worked. So either way, shouts out to Stipe. That was a fucking great win. DC, I wouldn't be mad if he retires. He already has a great legacy.
Yep.
Other than that, the Pettis-Diaz fight, I think Pettis...
Fucking wild. Hey, by the way, Diaz
I think I gave Pettis... Yeah, that's what gave him that edge.
But also the leg kicks weren't working for Pettis that well even before the checked kick.
Because we know Diaz is not very hittable, but he's hittable against a high volume striker like Pettis, right?
He rolls well with stuff though.
But that's what I said because Diaz rolls with the punches. He's very hittable, but his durability is insane. His cardio is great.
His cardio is okay. He looked like shit in the first round.
Or which one? I'm talking about Diaz.
I am too. Great. Diaz's cardio was okay in this fight.
Oh, is this why you're mentioning the rust?
Hard.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Halfway through the first, he caught a second wind, but he still looked pretty fucking tired in the third.
They both did look kind of like They did kind of both take a clinch.
Well, Pettis always no. I mean, Diaz. Why he won that fight was because he clinched the shit out of Pettis, which is how you beat him.
Yeah. Oh no, you see those knees he got against him in the clinch?
Oh, dude, yeah. What the fuck? Nate Diaz has upped his Muay Thai game in a legit.
So by the way, since this fight's definitely happening, who do you like with Masvidal versus Diaz? Because I'm kind of leaning Jorge, man, just because
I would
just switched it.
But I think that fight's going to decision.
Oh yeah, no one's getting knocked out.
If that fight goes to decision,
this has to be a 5-rounder. I don't think they slap it on a pay-per-view. They have to put it like as a main event, like in Philadelphia or some shit. I don't know where. I'm trying to say
classic Diaz split decision win.
But I'm trying to say though, like that has to be a 5-rounder, right? Like you can't make it through. Fuck no.
Yeah, and it'll be Diaz. 2-3-5 or 2-4-5. I would.
But if Jorge wins, it's like,
I think Jorge drops the last 2 rounds and probably loses.
And see, I respect that you say that because Jorge is kind of notorious for dropping latter rounds. So go hard in the first half of the fight, and after that he kind of coasts.
To be fair, not recently though. But
not recently. This is historically.
But we haven't seen him in a third round in a long time.
Yeah, no. Look at his last 2 fights, right? So we'll see. For all we know, Jorge goes out there and beats the brakes off Nate Diaz, and then it's like, well, guess what? Jorge deserves everything he's coming to him, right? So
Brunson looked great on that card too.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I just had to quickly recap 2 weeks ago. Just
good call.
2 fantastic, and Paulo Costa and Romero.
Oh my god!
I know a lot of people scored it for Romero.
I had Romero second and third, but it was so goddamn close.
So, and I know people were like, "Fuck you." We're about to say like, "Fuck you, Chris. You're a fucking pussy for not." No. So it's I had Costa round 1.
Fuck you, Chris. You're a pussy.
Thank you. I had Costa round 1. I had draw round 2, and Romero round 3 handily because I think he controlled the distance and he was clipping.
Wait, who'd you have round 2?
A draw. So I had it as a majority draw.
I could see that. It was very.
I swear to God,
that second round was close.
And I was telling my friend I was watching. I was like, dude, like judges. I guess you could say judges are afraid to call a draw because it's not.
They're afraid to.
I mean, they are. They're afraid to because
it's
not distinctive. It's not like an actual confirmation of who won. It's like a loss. When you draw someone, you don't win, but you don't lose, but you lose. It's like because nothing has. So I genuinely think that should have been a draw. I give the first round to Costa. See what I mean? It's a close fight, right? I give the first round to Costa. The second round, I thought it was a draw. It was so close. And the third round, I thought Romero not clearly won, but I think he won.
Yeah.
So I think the fight was a draw. I think in that weight class, they should run that shit the fuck back. Like, yes, Costa's a beast. Doesn't matter if you want to say he's clean or not.
Those dudes are never... Yoel Romero cannot catch a fucking break. That dude gets 0 easy fights.
Yeah, and that dude's made of some crazy something because like he took a head kick that would knock anyone out. It would probably.
Yeah.
And he just laughed that shit off and stuck his tongue out like that dude is out of his fucking mind. So that's why if I'm Mick Maynard, I don't know who the fucking matchmakers are now. Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard. Oh, dude, you run that shit back. Put it a 5-rounder, baby.
Yeah.
Put that shit in Cuba. Put that shit in fucking Brazil.
Somebody's gonna die if you make that a 5-rounder.
You know, if they die, they die, right?
Oh, jeez.
I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious. But yeah, no, that was a wild fucking fight.
That should have been a draw, 100%. And they're scared to do it. And am I mad at the Costa decision? I'm not mad at it.
No, it literally could have gone either way.
And guess what? Costa surprised me. A lot of us thought he would get destroyed.
I thought he'd be done after the first round.
Dude, that motherfucker is just as much Romero as Romero is. That dude's made of something crazy. That dude shouldn't even be a 185er. He should be a 205er for sure.
He's not going to be able to in California after this.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point.
Because he came in huge.
Yeah, because of the stipulations they got. They're gonna move his ass up.
Yep.
Is that as long as it's in California? Is that evident across all states?
Well, other athletic commissions are supposed to honor that, but who the fuck knows if they actually will?
Bullshit, right? Yeah.
So. Anyway, let me get back to this real quick. Some other quick honorable mentions that I still need to get through. The Trenches, rumbling with antitrust in a bar was real good. And Ant's audio is a little rough because he's recording in a different room, but Jason Burgos' audio is great. A lot of talk about BJ and how there's no fucking reason why you should have him anywhere involved in the sport at this point. I believe the quote is, the only people BJ should be standing across from are a judge or a psychiatrist, which, yep, that sounds about right. They also talk about the antitrust suit and how fighters just refuse to unionize despite all the fucking evidence that they should. Writer in the Fighter episode 45 is good. They talk about the Bellator card and it giving Jake anxiety that there was 14 finishes since he fights on the next Bellator card. And they also pitch a Bellator Rising crossover event, which is pretty dope. Oh, and Jake explains why he doesn't give a fuck about the Amazon, which was hilarious.
Funny, why not?
Let's see. Coast to Coast Combat Hour with Jake Smith was really good. They did a bonus episode. Jake's audio was cut out a little bit since he was driving, but talk a little bit about his history and his nickname and getting through the injury and stuff like that. So pretty interesting. And then behind the paywall, the Fourth C, TJ DeSantis has a bunch of fucking stuff coming up on the Between Rounds Patreon in about the next week or two. Bruce Buffer joined Between Rounds. Storytime with Ian McCall is now on Between Rounds. Jeremy Horn and Monty Cox are coming to Between Rounds with a new show. BMAC's Audio Adventure, who is BMAC is TJ's co-chair on the Eddie Bravo, Combat Jiu-Jitsu, whoever the co-host with him on that is. He's doing a podcast. There's the Mindset Movement, which is another, that's kind of like a motivational podcast. Dean Thomas has a new show coming to Between Rounds called the MMA Math, where Dean Thomas is going to break down both sides of a fight before a card and then let you kind of do the math on who you think would win. The Daily Wrap is returning, as I mentioned. He did mention that hopefully Jordan Breen is coming back to Between Rounds as well after his schedule clears up. And, second week in September, he thinks is going to be the relaunch. So it is going to be a lot of content coming from TJ DeSantis and the Between Rounds Patreon coming soon, which I'm hyped for. So that's what I got.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I'm about to piss my pants. So
I bet. We've been going long on this first segment. So
yeah, which is ironic considering how much we're enthused for this fucking fight card, right?
Also, that spoiler alert, I might have got a little long on this first segment because
spoiler alert, we might last not more than 30 minutes. Just kidding. We'll see.
Well, we can't last longer than 2.5 hours because that is when the card starts. So we will be back here in a minute. And in the meantime, you guys can listen to this clip of Dan Tom talking about Team Spectrum and a couple of the fighters on this card. So we'll be right back.
Liked by the sound of violence. violence.
I started training martial art when in the Dan, don't make fun of them. Don't read it in a fucking chart. I'm half Chinese, folks. 我是中国人, so please forgive me. I started training martial arts when I was in middle school. I'm not trying to pull Brendan Schaub here. Brendan Schaub has no excuse to pull it. I at least do. Because I really like the sound of landing your punches on your opponent. It just feels so cool. Alright. Team Spectrum, baby. Team Spectrum. And a quote from Zenhog from his UFC profile. What was his one? I got into MMA in 2009. I started it by chance and immediately liked it. Since then, it went out of control.
Liked by the sound of violence.
I started training martial art when in the Dan, don't make fun of them. Don't read it in a fucking chart. I'm half Chinese, folks. 我是中国人, so please forgive me. I started training martial arts when I was in middle school. I'm not trying to pull Brendan Schaub here. Brendan Schaub has no excuse to pull it. I at least do. Because I really like the sound of landing your punches on your opponent. It just feels so cool. Alright. Team Spectrum, baby. Team Spectrum. And a quote from Zenhog from his UFC profile. What was his one? I got into MMA in 2009. I started it by chance and immediately liked it. Since then, it went out of control.
Liked by the sound of violence.
I started training martial art when Dan, don't make fun of them. Don't read it in a fucking chart. I'm half Chinese, folks. 我是中国人, so please forgive me. I started training martial arts when I was in middle school. I'm not trying to pull Brendan Schaub here. Brendan Schaub has no excuse to pull it. I at least do. Because I really like the sound of landing your punches on your opponent. It just feels so cool. All right. Team Spectrum, baby. Team Spectrum. And a quote from Zenhog from his UFC profile. What was his one? I got into MMA in 2009. I started it by chance and immediately liked it. Since then, it went out of control.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We're back for one of the worst cards of the fucking year here in Shenzhen China, as George W. Bush would say, China.
Shenzhen.
Yeah, man. So, where do we start with this? I mean, we'll start from the bottom, obviously.
Well, we'll start actually with the fact that last week you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6. Not bad.
Hell yeah, as Stannis would say, perfectly balanced as all things should be, right?
I went 5 and 7 since I didn't pick Mazzo in the beginning because we had all of the same picks other than that.
What are you going to do? And you know what? Spoiler, we're probably going to have all of the same picks on this one, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. I might take some flyers on this one.
Spoiler, you'll probably be hearing a lot of coin flipping on my part.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because this is looking... woo!
I did a little bit of emotional coin flipping while watching some of these fights on whether I was going to continue watching it or bail 30 seconds in. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting breakdown. I watched tape on exactly the bottom half of this card, which is not the way to do it. I should have started at the top of the card to watch tape. I started at the bottom and fucking lost all goddamn energy or relevance. So, Chris, what are you drinking on, by the way? Are you drinking on your second beer?
Yeah, we got the my first sponsor, Lagunitas Little Something Hazy.
Nice. So I bought a special beer just for UFC China, since I am going to be...
Please tell me it's a Chinese beer, because I tried to look for some Chinese beer when I was out and about, couldn't find any.
Well, Chris, first off, I want to know, are you going to be staying up to watch the card? Oh, you have work tomorrow, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So the card starts we're recording this on Friday night at 9:49 Pacific, which means the card starts in 2 hours and 11 minutes. And I figured since I'm going to be up editing until about midnight anyway, I'm definitely going to be watching the card, at least the first ESPN 2 portion of the card. I'm probably going to watch the whole thing. Girlfriend Karen's not here this weekend. She's dog sitting, so I'm probably going to stay up and get hammered, drink some scotch that I bought. It's going to be great. But I figured if we're going to watch a rough card, if we're going to get through a rough card, I should get some Chinese beer. So I got... what G6 refers to as one of his favorite beers. You ever heard of Lucky Buddha?
I have.
Yeah.
And I love that bottle design. The beer itself is...
It's super green
it's
skunky. Yeah.
It's basically like Chinese Heineken. That's what it is. It's like it's drinkable.
Yeah, it's very skunky. And, yeah, it's a skunky... What is it, a Pils, technically?
It's like a Czech Pilsner. Which G6 would hate, but
yeah,
it's literally a Czech
Buddha.
Pilsner. It's literally a Czech Pilsner.
Yeah, Lucky Buddha Enlightened Beer. It's a fine Pilsner that's
skunked. That bottle is fucking cool as shit.
The bottle's dope. If you guys can't tell, it's a Buddha. But yeah, Bevmo shouts out. It was either this or Shenzhen or whatever the fuck.
But I don't have a fucking Bevmo to read. I went to old Jimbo's.
See, I have a Bevmo right here, so it was either this or
excuse me. I didn't go to Bevmo or Jimbo's. I went to Crest. Shouts out to Crest. But
yeah. I heard there's a new beer liquor store in Claremont.
Wait, where at?
I don't know. I just recently heard about it, but I heard that news and then immediately forgot it.
I need to find out.
Yeah, it might be tight.
Because every time I go to the liquor store, I don't see the brewery that I work for. I'm like, you guys need to have our beer. And he's like, okay, who's your rep? And I'm like, all right, cool.
Usually, yeah. Oh, right. Yes, you should. Yeah. We'll go ahead and move on. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I am drinking. I'm drinking Lucky Buddha beer. It's not the best, but it's hella China. So on that note. Just like this card, not the best, but there's some cool moments. So Chris, oh God, oh Jesus, this is why people don't like starting at the bottom of the card.
Starting at the bottom, we have a women's bantamweight bout between Brazilian fighter Carol Rosa, and her nickname is Carol, so Carol Rosa, going up against another Brazilian fighter, Laura Procopio.
Yeah, started at the bottom.
Which is also a law firm building in downtown San Diego.
Really?
Procopio, yes. It's
Oh,
a
I thought you
massive
meant
building.
Lara.
Lara. When I think Lara, I think of Lara Croft. But no, Procopio is a building in downtown San Diego. You know why? Because never mind. I won't say why. I'll say because I don't want to out my roommate. Never mind. Yeah. So what do we have? We have a women's bantamweight bout between two Brazilians. Shout out to Carol Rosa. She has a fucking what is it? What's it called again? I can't think. What's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when you have like that fight gear on, but it's not a gi? Rash guard. Thank you. Yeah. It's the fucking Punisher with Mickey Mouse ears. Like, what the fuck, first of all? So shouts out to that. Anyways, Carol Rosa. Wow, it's her UFC debut, so that tells you something on this card. She's going up against Lara Procopio. Okay, so which brings us to, and this should never be a thing, a coin flip.
That's right.
This should never happen on the first fight.
I'll let these first two fights you can go ahead and flip coins for. I watched the fights.
So I got Carol Rosa heads and Procopio tails. And what do we got? Okay, so I'm going with Carol Rosa.
That's good for you because
and I got it by decision.
So okay. So yeah, I'm going the same way. Quite literally the exact same way. Mostly because Lara's coming up from 25 and I don't think she's going to be able to hang. Carol's just real big and kind of muscles people around. I believe they're both black belts. If I remember right. But yeah, I'm leaning. If they were the same size, I would maybe lean closer to Lara just because she has the Nova and Yao training background. But Carol Rosa, between the much more experience in the cage and on top of that, also wait, is that? Oh, that's not the same Jessica. Is that? That's not the same. No. Okay. It's like she has a win over Jessica Andrade. Not the same Jessica Andrade. Just making sure.
Yeah, it's a big point.
Oh my God, she has a win over Nia Rodriguez.
Oh.
Fucking, I did not know Tommy Toll's co-host is getting beat up by this chick. Nayara, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm taking Carol mostly just off the size difference because she's already a pretty big 35er, it seems like. And Procopio kind of got muscled around a little bit in her last fight at 25, so yeah, I'm leaning that way. I don't know. She throws a lot of naked leg kicks. It makes me real nervous, but Lara just I don't know, man. Yeah, coin flip is right, but I'm taking Carol. Let's move on from this fucking fight.
So next up we have a.
Oh wait, do you have odds on that? Because I'm actually kind of curious.
Yes, I do.
Look like.
Sorry. Carol Rosa is a -116 to a -103 favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
no, they're both minus. So the first one was the favorite.
That's what I mean. Yeah. This next fight we have an anti-Chinese bout, and you'll see I'm talking about why. Because we have Botgirel Dana, who is from Mongolia, who the Chinese definitely love. Gone up against Chinese fighter. Oh, excuse me, I'm not getting political. So this is the first time you hear. Scratch that. We have Mongolian fighter going up against Ali Alatang. The Mongolian guy, Botgirel Dana. This is clearly his UFC debut. He's going up against Ali Alatang, and this is also his UFC debut. So you kind of see a pattern here for the first couple of fights.
Yeah. One interesting thing to note about these dudes.
Let me know, please. I'm on the coin flip for sure.
Yeah, while you get your coin, interesting thing to note about these guys is they both fought Kai Kara France early in their career.
Ooh, that is interesting.
And one of them has a win by split decision. One of them has a loss by flying knee knockout. But they were at two different points in Kai Kara France's career. I mean, they were 4 years apart.
So. Okay. All right, so I got tails for the Mongolian, heads for the Chinese guy.
Oh, sorry, Kai Kara France and Kai Asakura.
Oh, I fumbled that, so let me do it again. So I'm going the Mongolian guy. Wow. All right.
Also, I totally lied a minute ago. It's Kai Kara France and Kai Asakura. Little bit of a difference. One of them just murdered Kyoji Horiguchi in a
Oh,
fight.
dude, I saw that. I couldn't believe that shit.
And
Holy
the other one
fuck.
is fighting on this card.
Is that dude like the new champion or something?
No, wasn't a championship. There was no title on the line.
Oh, that's smart by Horiguchi.
Yeah, that was a fucking crazy win. Yeah, that was a Ryzen 18.
Either way, championship or not, he has the bragging rights. Good for him.
Yeah.
All right, the
Oscar is a monster.
So yeah, I got the Mongolian guy, Danab Akbarel,
Yep.
by decision.
I got Dana Batagles also.
I got Mongolian Dana White by decision.
Yeah.
Even though the Chinese guy Alatang is minus 125 to plus 104 favorite.
Really? I don't know why. I
couldn't tell you
He
why. I
does
know George
nothing.
W. Bush can tell you why, but
Oh shit! I forgot to tell it. Oh man. Oh well. Yeah. No. Dana is an ortho boxer or an ortho brawler rather. He has 0 defense or head movement, and he mostly just wings, overhands, and hooks. Healy is an ortho boxer who just shows up at volume and will throw straight hard counters, but low volume. And I feel like if Dana gasses, he loses, but I guess I'm taking him TKO first because the other guy shows up at volume. I don't know.
yeah, take that as you will.
Do you have a method?
Decision
Okay.
for the Mongolian dude.
Also, I forgot to mention, I was obsessed and I could not stop seeing how much Rosa looks like if Julian Lane and Tisha Torres had a kid. If you watch her fight, she looks like Julian Lane so much. Just let her bang, bro.
Yep.
And it was distracting. So anyway, let's keep on moving on before we have to keep.
So this next fight we have is a men's lightweight bout between Damir Ismagulov, who's from Kazakhstan, the same place of Borat, as well as the same place of motherfucking Triple G, for all the boxing fans out there. Gennady Golovkin, for all who don't know.
Speaking of boxing, Loma fights this weekend, right?
Yeah, shouts out to Vasily Lomachenko, who I think is the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world. And I think, while I don't think he necessarily would have beat Mayweather in his prime, he would probably give him his toughest fight ever, depending on if they fought at 140 catch weight. That's just me.
Maybe.
140 catch weight, Lomachenko probably could have beat Mayweather.
Mayweather never would have
serious.
taken that fight either, though.
But thank you. See? That's the caveat.
I mean, he might, but like after Lomachenko had a serious like injury where he got hit by a car,
Yes.
or after he was 45 years old or something, maybe.
For all those who are into boxing or think boxing is fucked, which I don't necessarily disagree with you, look at Vasily Lomachenko. He has the best intangibles, attributes of any boxer I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, oh, Chris, what about Ali? Like, first of all, Ali, yes, he moved great for a heavyweight, but so does fucking Tyson Fury. So, come on. There's a lot. But anyways, look at Vasily Lomachenko. The dude's
That's right,
out of-
y'all. You just heard it. Tyson Fury is the new Ali.
He's not, but I'm talking about movement.
I
Like, you
know.
can't be 6'9" and move like that.
100% fucking with you.
I know, but you like I know you've seen fight, and it's ridiculous what Fury
Oh yeah,
can do.
he's weird. He's a fucking weird person.
Guy's crazy. So yeah, this fight that we're going to talk about now, what we're trying to go fuck about, is a lightweight men's bout again between Brazilian Thiago Moises and what did I just say? Oh, Kazakhstani fighter Damir Ismagulov, because I already said that. Anyways, Thiago Moises, last time we saw him, he fought in UFC 237 and won a unanimous decision over Kurt Holobaugh. And Damir Ismagulov, last time we saw him fight, was last February UFC on ESPN 3, plus 3, over against Joel Alvarez. Dude, this is their third coin flip in a row. What do you know? So I'll let you fucking break this down.
All right, well, first off, I'd like everybody to join me in the new greatest drinking game. Is Chris going to flip that coin? So the rules for the drinking game is 1 drink if Chris flips a coin, 2 drinks if you pick the opposite side that Chris gets.
Yeah, let's go.
So I'm going with tails, and I'm taking a drink for Chris flipping the coin.
Yeah, so we're gonna go Damir is heads and Moises is tails. So here we go. Bing, bang, boom. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, shit. I fumbled the fuck out of that one.
Perfect. This is going great.
This is how that card is, though, man.
Yeah, no, this is 100%. This is how I'd like our breakdown for this card to go.
There we go. So it's heads. So Moises wins. Yay.
Did you say Demir was heads?
Really? So let's do it again. So now Demir is tails and Moises is heads.
I'm pretty
Let's
positive
redo this.
Demir was heads because okay, well, this works better because I have Demir anyway, so I'm going with tails again.
So now it's heads. So Moises wins. Yay.
I don't know how this works. There's some sketchy math behind the scenes.
I don't know. I probably lied to myself just now.
I'd like to see the RNG numbers on this coin flip.
Yeah, right?
I think they might be tampered with.
Some shitty game by EA, right?
Yeah,
And
somebody
content.
shaved down one of the sides of this die. Yeah, no. You're going
What,
Moises?
it's a rigged craps table where it's just sevens.
Right. What method are you going on that? Any idea?
This is going submission.
Really? All
Not really. I'm just saying that just to sound edgy.
I mean, dude, you might be right. I don't know.
He's Brazilian, so he's got to go with, as
There you
Shannon,
go.
my boy, she was that Brazilian jiu-jitsu skill.
The Brazilian?
Yeah, go with the Brazilian by a Brazilian. He'll win via submission round 2.
Sub in the second? It's
Yeah.
not a crazy pick. I mean, he's had 1, 2 holes, 3 whole subs in his entire... No, I guess there's 4 subs in his entire career.
Oh, and I bet it's be number 5.
Yeah, that's not bad. Hey, he's wearing a gi in his picture. It sounds kind of legit. Oh
He
my
looks like
God.
Gilbert Burns, right? He
These
works out.
fucking dogs. One's drinking water, the other one's sniffing outside the door. It's a fucking mess over here, man. There's garage doors opening for some reason, even though it's fucking 10 o'clock at night. So, yeah. So I'm going Demir. Wait, what you actually taking him by sub? You might as well.
I don't care at this point.
Yeah, I got Demir via decision. I don't really have a good reason for why, other than Seamus, but don't die over there. Sorry, my dog is fucking drinking water too fast, evidently. I don't know. I got Demir off of volume, I guess. Not even volume, just like pace, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have much of a read on this fight. Demir looked good in his last fight, but it also doesn't do a lot for me. And Thiago Moises looked really good in his last fight, but it was against Kurt Halba, so I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. I'm taking Demir, and I will let you read off the next one while I deal with these fucking dogs.
So Demir, oh Christ, let me back up. Demir is a minus 208 favorite to plus 171 of Thiago Moises.
Sweet. Why don't you start off the next one?
This next one is, I can't know if it's a heavy or light heavyweight fight, but it's probably the largest Korean I've ever seen since Kim Jong-un. That dude's fat as fuck. Da-Un Young going up against Russia's own Kadis Ibragimov, who's 8-0. Is this light heavyweight or heavyweight? Light heavyweight, if I were to guess. Light heavyweight. That's what I'm asking you. Okay. Yeah. So you got light heavyweight Da-Un Young, the Korean guy. This is UFC debut. Give him this Russian motherfucker, Kadis Ibragimov. Oh, wait, what a surprise. It's his UFC fucking debut, too. So, yeah, coin flip time. The Korean guy is going to be heads, and the Russian motherfucker is going to be tails. So let's see what happens. And it's heads for the Korean guy. There we go. Korean guys are I'm going with zero confidence. For fun, we're going knockout round 1. Let's do it. Zero confidence in that. If I'm honestly picking, I got Russian by sub round 2, but I'm going with the coin flip. So I'm going Korean round 1 knockout. Shows you where the division's going. Fuck you, John Jones. All right. Hell yeah. Yeah. So the ground game from the Korean dude's probably bad compared to the fucking Russian because he probably knows sambo and some jujitsu. The Korean guy, imagine if I'm being a generalized piece of shit and not really racist, I'm stereotyping. He knows Taekwondo like a motherfucker. He's Korean. So he's going to just be at distance, and the Russian guy's going to grapple him to the fuck to the ground, and that's all she wrote. So the odds, if you may ask, the Russian motherfucker, Ibragimov, is a minus 263 to plus 211 of the Korean dude, Zhang. And this brings us to our next fight, motherfuckers. Our next fight, I'll say it one more time for everyone here. We got Ibragimov at a minus 263 to a plus 211 of Dawn Jung.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not expect that.
So next up we got motherfucking Andre Soccer Mom, Andre Subentot. He's loud, but
Forgot about that one.
he's a loud American fighter, fighting out of Lakewood, Florida. Going up against Chinese fighter Sumo Jerry. Oh, Sumo Jerry, our boy, Sumo Jerry.
Oh yeah, Sumo Jerry. I forgot all about that.
Sumo Jerry's back. You know what? I'm going Sumo Jerry. I'm gonna fuck.
You know
Andre
what?
Soccer Mom has terrible fight IQ. So
I honestly was gonna take Sumo Jerry anyway because
dude, no. Andre
he was
Soccer
good in
Mom's
his last fight.
yeah. Andre Soccer Mom's fight IQ is fucking trash. I don't care that Sumo Jerry lost to Louis Smoker via armbar. Louis Smoker's a motherfucker on the mat.
Yeah.
I got Sumo Jerry via decision. Let's look at the odds because I know you got Sumo Jerry. Andre Soccer Mom is a minus 167 favorite to a plus 137 of Sumo Jerry.
Yeah, I honestly I have Sumuda, as I like to call him. Seamus, why are you growling? What the fuck, bro? He's just over here growling. I don't know what the fuck.
He sees the spirits.
I guess. Fucking, he hates the squeaking of this. He hates this podcast, is what it is. Let's see.
Motherfucker, I'm trying to sleep.
You good, dude? The fuck? Sorry. Fucking never heard him growl really ever. So yeah, I got no, not Demir. I got Sumo Jerry mostly because first off, Sumuda is a great name, and second, Andre Sigmundtot's coming off a loss to is it Montel Jackson or is that the wrong first name?
Montel Jackson, yeah.
I always worry about that because isn't that the name of a talk show?
No, Montel Williams.
No, okay, it's too close. What? I think I'm getting growled at for talking. So yeah, no. So Montel Jackson's a southpaw or a rangy southpaw, and he gave Sukumta a lot of problems. So I'm taking Sumuda for that same reason. It's just that.
Yeah, I got Sumo Jerry just because fucking Sukumta. He just hasn't been good. The odds. We got Sukumta is a minus 167 to a plus 137 of Sumo Jerry. The fuck? Okay, here we go. This next fight we have is a men's middleweight bout between Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, the American, going up against Korean fighter Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle. I like that name. That's pretty cool.
Did you have a method on that last one?
Yeah, I had a decision
Same.
for Sumo Jerry. This is Anthony Hernandez's second UFC fight. His debut came back last February 2nd, where he lost the Anaconda choke to Marcus Perez. His opponent, Korean fighter Yoon Young Park. This is UFC debut, and looks like he's won via a lot of knockouts and chokes. So I'm going with the Korean guy because the last motherfucker. Well, but he wins by a lot of I don't know. You know what? This calls for another coin flip.
Flip that shit.
So the American Anthony Hernandez will be tails.
Oh, I just caught Davey in chat. I don't know how long ago they left this comment because fucking YouTube doesn't tell me. Hey, there is. So Davey is still in chat. There's exactly 1 hour and 47 minutes until fights start.
So I got the Korean guy because he landed on head. So I got Yoon Young Park. I'm saying his name wrong, so I got the Iron Turtle.
Yeah, well, first off, great fucking nickname, right?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Anthony Hernandez looked all right against Marcus Perez up until getting caught. And then he had the no contest against Jordan Wright, which I don't remember how that ended. I don't remember why that was a no contest. I want to say maybe it was a USADA thing, but I can't tell for sure. As for Junior Park, he's at a Korean top team, which I believe is the same. Oh, wow, DB. Thanks for being a nice guy in chat. Korean top team, I believe, is the same gym that Donghyun Kim, the OG Donghyun Kim, trains out of. So I am leaning Junyoung Park, but I don't know. Again, very regional and very questionable division. So Anthony Hernandez has been around. He's fought some dudes, but I'm leaning Park mostly off of how the hype I've heard off of him. This is one of the fights that I didn't do any tape study on. So
yeah, I got Park because of the coin flip. Decision. Odds. So we got Hernandez at a minus 152 to plus 127 with Park.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Hernandez is definitely the known commodity out of the two. So doesn't surprise me necessarily, but I've been hearing a lot of good things. Like, I've been hearing a lot of people who are excited about Park's game and see how it evolves. I think Vivisection was one of the people talking about it this week. So, also, shouts to the clicky clack of Seamus behind me.
I think it's adorable. All right, next up we got a men's welterweight bout between Chinese fighter the Assassin, Keenan Song. I'm gonna call him Keenan Song. It's so badass.
Sure, yeah.
Against American fighter Derek D-Rock Krantz.
It's a banger of a fight.
Last time we saw Keenan Song, he lost at UFC Fight Night 141 a year ago, November 24th, to Alex Morano. Last time we saw Derek Krantz, he lost to Vicente Luque, no shame in that. UFC on ESPN Plus 10 last May 18th. He's gonna knock the fuck out. I'm leaning Keenan Song.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this.
There goes decision. And it's like, oh, Chinese dude, let's give it to him. Well, I mean, I think he'll deserve it. Don't be wrong.
I mean, that's one real question that I do have about this card. Also, this order is way different than Wikipedia. But I think Wikipedia's order is probably right, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I've been going back and forth on this one a lot. I don't know what to make of the Chinese, because the judges are going to be brought over by the UFC. But they want a Chinese fighter to win. And I wonder if that means they bring over weird judges. Because it'd be better for them if, which we'll get to in the main event, but it'd be better for them if Zhang won. So I'm wondering if we're going to see a Doug Crosby or a fucking Sal D'Amato in the cage side for this card to try and throw a card. Because the crowd can easily be a big factor in these fights as well. Shit, now that I think about it, I probably should have taken, not Chan Mi John, but the other Chan Mi John. Is it Yanan Wu? It is Yanan Wu. It's the next fight we're talking about. I'm thinking about taking Yanan Wu, actually, just off the crowd, but maybe I won't. Yeah, and I wanted to go Kenan Song. I've been pretty high on him. He had that loss to Alex Morono, but looked good against Aldana and Bobby Nash. Problem is, Derek Krantz has looked good against, he looked definitely overwhelmed against Vicente Luque, but his run in his fights in LFA, and if I remember right, the rite of passage fight as well, he looked pretty sharp. And Vicente Luque is not a loss to really hang a lot on. Oh boy, I guess I'm gonna take Derek Krantz, but I guess if I'm gonna take Derek Krantz, I probably have to take him via finish early. I'm gonna say second round TKO for Derek Krantz, but not confident.
I'll get to the odds here. I got Kenan Song via decision.
I think that might be a smart pick, especially
the odds are Derek Krantz is a minus 120 to a plus 100.
Chris, I can tell how excited you are about this card tonight.
Oh, sorry. Let me put on my happy face. Excuse me. I'm excited now. Let's get to this next one.
Chris, all you have to do, you just have to sing. Sing a song.
I'm excited for this next fight. It's Yanan Wu and Mizuki Inoue.
I was going to make a Sweet No Effects reference of, sing a song. So all the people can sing along.
See, I don't have the energy for that.
Oh, no, we're going to do all of the Song The Decline right now. You ready? It's 12 minutes wrong.
Yeah, man. Dude, this... Okay. Bear with me. 1, 2, 5, drop out.
No, yeah, not even the one. It's
I know it's not. I was just ad-libbing there because drugs are fun. Yeah. Drugs are good.
How dare you fuck that up? Oh my god!
I know. I
Go
said
throw gasoline on the fire. So
I know it's drugs are good, motherfucker. You think I'm not that dumb? Come on now. Oh boy.
Enough Fat Mike references.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Been 15 years since he's loaded. Yeah, Bob, liver exploded. Whatever you want to call it.
The doctor.
The doctor said.
Hey, Chris. Quick question. What you been thinking about?
Just fucking drinking more. That's what I've been thinking about all night because this fucking card makes one to drink.
To be fair,
cheers.
I'm through my first beer.
I think I'm on beer 3 or 4.
I've been thinking about nothing.
Yeah. I've been thinking about Yanan Wu versus fucking Mizuki Inoue.
I actually have been. This is a great fucking fight. This is scrappy
as
shit.
I'm lying, so I'll let you cover this fight because I don't give a fuck.
First off, this girl is going to get down to business to defeat the Huns. If you check out
I'm going with the Chinese chick then at that point.
I mean, her nickname is Mulan, and she literally was a male soldier, if you know the story.
Let's do it. I'm going with her.
Literally.
Then why you say that? I'm going to go grab another beer because I don't think I'll be able to last the rest of the card. So I'll be right back in about 30 seconds. So.
That's smart. I grabbed 3 for that exact reason. All right, so I'll actually talk a bit about this. I'm really excited for this fight. As Dan Tom explained on our break, Yanan Wu is fucking dope. She has some great quotes about why she got into fighting. And is just all around a bad motherfucker. She reminds me a lot of Chan Mi John in that aspect, where they're just scrappy fighters. She did get that win over Lauren Mueller, but she did get bullied around a little bit by Lauren Mueller, which is kind of, I mean, not necessarily unexpected, but because Lauren Mueller is kind of a beast, but for her to catch the armbar after getting decisioned by Gina. Mazzani, I was very surprised by. Oh my god, this beer is so carbonated. I definitely had Lauren Mueller going into that fight originally. She's scrappy as hell. she's just kind of a wild person, and will get into brawls and drag you into brawls. And Inoue is a little bit of that, but much more technical. Inoue was making big waves in Invicta for a long fucking time. I believe she first fought on Invicta, what was it, 9, I think, against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Here's why I'm taking Mizuki Inoue, and it's not even fucking close. These are the fighters that Yanan Wu has fought that you would know the names of. Yana Kunitskaya, Gina Mazzani, and Laura Mueller. Here are the fighters that you would know the name of that Mizuki Inoue fought. Ayaka Hamasaki, who she lost to, but that was back in 2011 in her 4th fight. Alex Chambers, who she beat, and that was in 2012. Beck Rawlings, who she beat in 2013. I'm just looking for big names. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who she lost a split decision to in 2014. Alexa Grasso, who she lost a decision to in 2015. Ayaka Hamasaki, who she had a grappling match against. Verna Janjiroba, who she lost another very fucking close split decision to. Viviane Pereira in Invicta at Invicta 32, and now this fight. She clearly has the clear head and above experience advantage. It's kind of at this point a matter of whether or not Yanan Wu has the just like young scrappiness to pull this out. Man. So as a result, I'm gonna lean Inoue just because she's looked so fucking good. She's really good in the pocket. I believe as Zane Simon described on the Vivisection, she's good in the pocket in the way that she looks like she's been just hitting pads for 10 years. Like just we'll throw long combos in the pocket with head movement that look very much like pad work. Whereas Yanan Wu will just kind of go out there and do some wild shit. And just kind of be reckless and a crazy person, which I'm a big fan of. But I don't know that she's going to be able to hang with Mizuki Inoue over 3 rounds. I think Mizuki Inoue probably has the fight IQ to take it. So I'm taking her decision.
I agree with everything you say. However, it's on an irrational thought and presumption. As I sat down, it took a big whiff of fresh air. However, it smelled like China White, which makes me believe I have to take the Japanese chick in a way. Take that as you will. I'm not.
What smells like heroin?
No, China White. Good old cocaine, right?
I don't think China White is cocaine, bro.
Isn't that cocaine? Am I mixing up my terminology?
I think you're mixing up your fucking half-baked terminology.
I thought heroin was like brown. I thought heroin is like brownstone and shit like that.
Yeah, but like it's definitely brownstone. But I always associate China, most China.
But like China White, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember.
Right, but how much coke do you know if that comes from China versus
if it's cut with creatine, baby girl? Ask John Jones.
Hey, after what you did there.
I'm just saying.
All right.
So I'm on that John Jones coke.
Yeah.
I'm not right now because you could tell if I was.
You're definitely way too sleepy to be on John Jones coke.
Clearly. So no, but I just remember, obviously, one of our favorite bars that I won't mention that may or may not be on a certain boulevard or avenue, I should say. I remember this one time the guy's like, "Hey, you get that China White?" And I was like, "No, I don't."
Be on a boulevard or avenue? Is it an Irish bar?
It might be.
Okay.
But I remember this guy's like, "Bro, you get that China White?" I was like, "I don't. Sorry." And I'm like, I'm kind of offended you'd ask me that. China
White is coke, I guess. Although,
it is.
Dude, you should not be
that's the only thing I think about.
Asking that at that bar because the amount of China White I've done at that bar.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I will allegedly agree with you.
I mean, it was a long time ago.
And I will tell you that there are other bars that you can get. Let's just say a better score.
Well, yeah, because I know the guy who sells it at that bar.
I know a guy who knows a girl who knows a guy who knows a guy. I mean,
well, that is how that works. So.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what China White means. You see what I mean? I'm trying to make it entertaining because it's connected to China, as W said, and I don't think he ever said that. I think I made that up, but it makes it more fun, right? But Yeah. Anyways,
I think
I'm
really,
getting.
Chris, I think the problem is you're not drinking as this bottle says. I hope I can get this to get into focus. Oh God.
Well, I can't see. See, that's no fun to me, motherfucker. I can't see what you're showing me.
It doesn't matter. You can't see on the video either that it says this is enlightened beer. So, speaking of enlightening motherfuckers, why don't we go ahead and enlighten motherfuckers on who we're taking in this next fight?
Wait, what about the odds, right? On Yanan Wu?
Oh, Greg Hall. I gotta imagine that if Inoue isn't a favorite, I don't know how the fuck the world works.
Chop your dick off? Just kidding. That's aggressive.
No, I'm not.
Inoue is a minus 159. I just had to do that. To a plus 139 of Yanan Wu.
Okay. Yeah, that still seems kind of close to me, but so does the title fight, so...
So everyone's probably gonna, if anyone tweets, which probably be no one, of like, why was Chris? And you're like, which one was so utterly impressive? And it's like, you know what? Because he didn't give a fuck about his card, and he's tired, and he's getting drunk. I'm about half drunk right now. Oh, and partly high. You know, I probably should take another fucking toke. Anyways, but I can't do that because this next fight is one of my fantasy fighters. Let's get into this.
You got the Bumblebee dog?
I just got that greenery.
Or you got Don't Blink dog?
As the fucking white hipsters and like fucking NorCal would say at fucking UC Davis, you got that greenery, bro.
Oh.
You got that hella greenery, which I fucking hate that fake ass word. Anyways, we got Mark De La Rosa, and I think this is a men's bantamweight, not flyweight, right? I think he's a bantamweight guy, I think. This might be a flyweight, though. Going to be against Kai Kara France. The fucking Kiwi? Yeah, he's Kiwi. I remember from Tough. So basically, you have Kai Kara France, who's a very talented kickboxer and Muay Thai practitioner. It is an impressive win streak. Last time we saw him, he defeated Howlin' Paiva. His position February at UFC 234. Going against American Mark De La Rosa, the Bumblebee, who is a very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He lost, unfortunately, in his decision last time to Alex Pettis at UFC on ESPN 2 cable March 30. So I have Mark De La Rosa in fantasy. I'm going with him.
Really? That's a big gamble.
Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna lose, dude. It's gonna be Kai Kara France, and it's gonna be a fucking decision.
That's a decent. I
feel like in my heart that Mark De La Rosa takes you to the ground and gets him sub round 3, beating round 3.
Wow, that's
I feel it.
Pick for
you know why? Because I feel it down in my plums.
Well, the reason why that's a good fantasy pick though is if this fight ends early, it's a Mark De La Rosa sub, right? And
yeah,
if it goes long,
round 3 is bullshit. I really mean round 1. There's no
points.
the subs never happen in round 3. That's fake news. Tell that to your boy Donald Drumpf, the Proud Boys, whatever you want to call it. No, it's going to be round 1 for Mark De La Rosa. And sorry, I'm plugging politics. I'm just trolling at this point. Like, come on.
Can you guys tell Chris a little buzz right now?
Just a little bit.
Tell? I think the weed got him a little bit because he was doing good, and then he hit that bowl, and then
right. But then again, this kind of helps me get invested in the rest of the card, right?
Hey, bro.
Because now I'm kind of like, wait, this is fun, but it's not.
Yeah, no, invest in China however you gotta, bro. You know.
Yeah, China White, right? Just do a little fucking.
Here we go. We're back on. We're going.
I'm kidding.
We're going
I'm just fucking with you. I just want to see your reaction, but I can't see your reaction because I can't see you, motherfucker.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So what do we do?
Speaking of which, I got Kai Kara France via decision. I really.
That's a good pick. That's honestly a good
I'm
pick.
pretty high on dude, and I don't have enough confidence that Mark De La Rosa is not going to just sit on bottom the whole time.
Oh, I'm losing this pick 100%.
I think Mark De La Rosa 100% is going to sit on bottom for a lot of he's going to get stuck on bottom for a lot of this fight.
Yeah, can I tell you the odds? And you'll feel way more self-gratified. So
they're probably pretty wide, like minus 280.
Not that much, but you're in the twos for sure. It's Kai Kara France a minus 217 to a plus 177.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fair.
You're vindicated. You're vindicated either way.
Yeah, he has gas in the past, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith that
This next
Russell's
fight, though, I have max confidence. So I think it's gonna win.
These next two fights are actually legit dope as fuck.
So the co-main event brings us to, in my opinion, one of the most underrated, or it's not necessarily underrated, but kind of like not worst kept secret. What's that term? Where it's like this dude's legit as fuck, but no one cares. What is that called?
Most eye gouging? Oh no, you're talking about Easy Dos Santos?
Yeah, I'm talking about Easy Dos Santos, but like,
which, by the way, shouts out to the Co-Main Event podcast for creating maybe the greatest name ever with Easy Dos Santos.
No. Shouts out too, and it's fantastic because it's like we're not going to remember Elisa Dulesky. Easy Dos Santos, yeah. So, yes, we got Alesky.
Also, wait, before you go,
yeah.
Well, before Chris does this, no, Davey, not rolling a joint, but might be smoking a bong load here while Chris does this. So go ahead.
Hold on, while you say that, I gotta do the same real quick before I collect my thoughts. Had to clear the bowl real quick. Okay, so we got Brazilian fighter Elisa Dulesky Capoeira, also known as Easy Dos Santos, going up against Chinese fighter, also known as Jingliang Li, the Leech, or as our boy, Zhang Lang, also known as...
shouts to Steffi Crooklyn.
Also known as Asian Tyler, the Creator. I think I kind of
wait, where did that one start?
Remember, I said that like fucking a year ago, and you're like, oh, wait, he kind of looks like him.
Maybe a little bit, but not really.
That's the point. It's a little bit, but not really. Anyways, I'm choosing E.T. Dos Santos 100% this fight. 100%. This is the no-brainer fight for me. He's been one of the most underrated fighters in the motherfucking game at welterweight. This dude choked out Curtis Millender. He's the striker. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
He choked out some fucking wop. Luigi Venturini.
I like to remind everybody Chris is very fucking Italian. His last name is Medaffer.
That's why. Like, dude, just like the Irish motherfuckers make fun of the Irish, you know what I mean? And just like the Irish make fun of the Italian. I tell you the other day, my brother was at some bar, and my brother's mostly Spanish and Native American German, right? As far as like the whole bloodline thing, right? But he met this guy, and the guy was like, "Hey, brother, you're Irish. You're my Irish brother." My brother was like, "No, I'm not." And then the guy was like, "You don't hate the most? It's those fucking Italians." And my brother was like, "You should meet my brother." And the guy got all triggered. It's like, that's just great. It's like, why? That white on white makes no sense. Like, culture aside, like,
as
go
a
fuck
Polak,
yourself.
I love jokes about Polacks, but
see, but that's fair.
You know, I just like
okay, if you've seen the movie Gran Torino, it kind of makes sense, but then it doesn't make sense. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that Clint Eastwood is old, so obviously he's racist. If that's
he's old and he's a legend, which is why he thinks he gets away with being a racist fuck. So
also true to life. True to life is that character. I have a feeling.
But then again, if you're 80 years old, you clearly don't care what anyone thinks. Anyways, Lazy Dulesky is going to grapple the fuck out of Jing
that's the thing,
Liang
right? We I think we both have the same read on this fight, which is if this
I'd
gets
like
into grappling.
I like Jing Liang's stand up. He's not afraid to stand in the pocket. He'll trade the 1-2 straight. He might even throw a hook and kind of slip and dip, but dude, it's Dulesky's fight to lose. This dude has been on a fucking tear. I know people go, oh, but what if Vicente Luque? You know what? Book him. If Easy Dos Santos wins this fight, have him against Vicente Luque, because I know Vicente Luque beat Mike Perry. But you know what I'm trying to say as far as the welterweight division goes?
I mean,
it's kind of like in that middle
ground. If gets his win, he moves way the fuck up.
Oh, no. If Zhang wins, he's out the fucking wrong. But you know what I'm trying to say, though? If Dulesky wins, put him against Luque, put him against... I'm not trying to say...
Put him against Brazilian. Like,
no, but that's my point. I'm not trying to say put him against a Brazilian. I think it makes sense in the rankings matter to put him against him, but...
yeah, I would need to see what the... rankings were like for welterweight. Here, I can pull this up. Dude, Easy Dos Santos versus Steven Wonderboy Thompson, dope as shit. Easy Dos
That's a good
Santos
fucking
versus
fight.
literally anybody in the top 10.
Anthony Pettis?
Ponzinibbio.
Dude, what's up
fucking-
with Ponzi?
Yeah,
Is he
we
like
haven't heard
hurt?
from Ponzi in a while, right?
Is he hurt?
He fought not that long ago.
Dude, no, he fought like a year ago.
Oh
man.
shit, November. Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
out for a while.
Dude, he's a legit motherfucker. And you know what? Did you see what he said about 2 months ago? He said, I will literally drop to lightweight to fight Habib. It's like, dude, go fuck yourself.
No,
Not
go
in
fuck
the
yourself.
bad sense, but it's like, come on. Just you've only shown what you can do welterweight. Please don't be that guy that's hoping you could drop the lightweight just because you want to fight Habib. I mean, not that it's not admirable, because I like your confidence. I really do. I like Ponzi, but it's like, come on, bro, really?
Yeah. But to get back to this,
You might as well be George Masvidal saying, you know what, guys? I'm going back to lightweight.
yeah.
Right?
To get back to this though, we're both leaning Eliza Zaleski Dos Santos via probably sub, right?
100% sub. I got him with sub.
Just because the problem is, I think number one, Zhang Lang I think he might get club and subbed in this fight, honestly, because Eliza Zaleski Dos Santos is going to start off pretty strong, and Zhang Lang always gets clipped early. And I don't know that he's going to be... I think he's probably going to get clipped and get subbed. If this fight gets to the third, it might get kind of fucking interesting. But I feel like he can always rely on his wrestling or his grappling if he really needs to. The way Eliza Zaleski Dos Santos was just like, oh, I'm a way better grappler than Curtis Millender. I'm just going to go out there and take him down and immediately work for a sub. Was exactly the right thing to do, and it's probably 100% the right thing to do in this fight too. Because very worst case scenario, Zhang Lang gasses out trying to defend grappling exchanges and work on scrambles, and then Elizu pieces him up late, I would think. So, I got Zaleski probably sub. I think probably club and sub in the first, honestly. It might be the second, but I think club and sub in the first.
That's not a bad pick, man. I like it.
You going the same?
I'm going sub. I'm going sub first. Yeah, some shit.
Also, shouts out to Co-Main Event Podcast for Easy Dos Santos. That's still like one of the
great.
biggest layups ever in name history, but no one else saw it coming, so they deserve. I even heard John Anik on his podcast shouting it out this week, but he didn't know who it was from, so shame on you, John Anik. Listen to the Co-Main Event Podcast, god damn it.
So the odds of Easy Dos Santos is a minus 286 favorite to a plus 226 of Li Jing Liang, also known as Zhang Lang.
The problem is he just looks so sharp lately, and him clearly out-grappling a dude who was a good striker or a better striker than Zhang Lang, and Zhang Lang having trouble with some wrestlers recently. Mostly the Jake Matthews fight. He had some trouble with that shit. So, I don't know.
So this
could
brings
totally
us...
go out there and just bludgeon him, though.
Oh, he could, yeah.
That dude
He's
throws
got-
murder hooks all the time, so...
So the main event of the evening brings us to current...
Speaking of murder hooks...
Yeah, current reigning defending champion, Brazilian fighter, Jessica Bate Estaca Andrade. Just Jessica Andrade, right? That's what we know her as.
Bate Estaca just means pile driver.
Yeah. Going up against Chinese fighter and badass motherfucker, Weili Zhang. Magnum. They're going to call her. This chick is built like a brick shithouse. This is probably the most muscular built fight ever at women's just fighting.
It's it's definitely one
It's up there. Besides Nunes and Cyborg. This is up there. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
they're both just super bulky and muscled their way through shit in a dope, but in a like very still technical and like strategic way.
And I'll say this: Weili Zhang, she's on a 19-fight fucking win streak.
Yeah, crazy.
Which
run.
hasn't been matched except for Chris Cyborg back in the day. They made that comparison, which is admirable, right?
Her only loss ever was her first fight.
Yeah. So my point is, what's her height? She's 5'4". She's not too much bigger than Andrade.
Barely bigger than Andrade.
But she's I'll say this, spoiler, I am leaning Zhang. And
Really?
the reason why I'm leaning Zhang is Andrade hasn't fought someone besides being her bantamweight. I know you're gonna bring that up.
100%. I was just about to bring up
I know.
9 bantamweights.
I'm talking about this weight class, motherfucker. She hasn't fought someone that's as physically big as her. It's Wailing Zhang is fucking jacked.
She is very jacked, and she likes to work out of the clinch.
Yeah. She's not afraid to scramble. She has great taekwondo. She has great distance management. Does she have as good boxing as Rose? I don't think so. I don't think really any chick at 115 has good outside distance boxing that Rose does. So Rose did to Andrade, but Andrade is great. She's not afraid to dart in and grab the single and even double and go palm to palm. And yes, can Andrade win this fight via the grappling? Yeah, her cardio is good. But I just see Zhang, dude, just getting her palms with those kicks to the body. I think she's really just going to lay on that volume early, just keep distance, kicks to the body. Just do like the 1-2. Don't get me wrong, it's in China. Is that going to help her? Maybe if it goes to decision. I'm not calling it corruption because, it's not like you're liking it to boxing, but there has been some corruption technically in MMA. You can't prove it, right? So,
you can prove some of them.
I mean, yes.
There actually, ironically enough, I believe the last fight that was legitimately went on the books as thrown officially, and there was investigations about, happened in what country, Chris?
Probably Brazil, but
no, China, motherfucker. Obviously, it's China.
Oh, see, you bring it full circle. So guess what? I'm going Wei Lizan, motherfucker, and guess what? I am going decision. And what's going to happen is Zhang wins. She'll win 48-47, but the judges will give her 49-46 or 50-45. You'll see. That's going to not be fun.
Interesting. So I didn't think about the fact that Chris, I want you to do one thing while I'm about to talk. Pull up this fight's odds. And I'm
already ahead of you.
No, and look up the line movement from when it opened to where it's at now.
Does it show you that comparison?
It should, if you look at details and stuff on it. So I'm leaning Jessica Andrade TKO third. I think that she is probably too much for Weili Zhang in a lot of areas of this fight.
So do you want me to tell you Andrade by TKO KO?
No. So here's the thing. I want to see where the line started at and where it's at now. Is there like a history option or something on there?
I can't see it on Best Fight odds.
This is a bad thing to do while we're both drunk.
It's fine. I can tell. Well, I can tell you.
Go ahead and tell me the odds now, since I've got Andrade TKO third.
You have Andrade by TKO KO, which is not bad at all because Zhang is known to being hit with overhand. So, anyways, Andrade by TKO KO is a plus 230.
That's not a bad pick. What's decision?
Decision? Andrade, right? Wins by decision plus 315.
Wow, that's a really good line. Yeah, I would play it straight because she's still she's a favorite, but like a slight favorite straight, right? She's like 160 last I heard.
Yeah. As far as straight up, we have Andrade, like overall is a minus 185 to plus 145.
Okay, so she's got a little bit of juice behind her on that.
However, say you do, how I told you I like Zhang. Zhang by decision, is plus 332. That's not too bad either.
It's about the same. Yeah. So
yeah.
The thing.
Oh wow, Zhang in round 1 plus 1250. Fuck. Not saying it's happening, obviously. It's a judge spot.
I will put money on that not happening.
Yeah, no.
Well, actually, I was gonna say I'll do a fucking beer chug bet with you right now that won't happen.
Okay, I'll say this. Would you rather do Zhang? If she finishes... Okay, let me ask you this. If Zhang finishes Andrade, which it's not happening. Well, I don't know that. What round? Because I'm going to light you on some good odds. I'm just saying right now. You're going to be like, holy fuck.
I think if Zhang wins, this is by decision.
I know. That's my point. But if she wins by... Okay, if she wins by unanimous, I'll tell you right now, it's plus 450. Take that. Sure. If she wins, right? However, I'm talking about by finish. What round would you take? Because you'll love these odds. If you're
4 or
willing.
5, I guess.
I'll just say this, $10, right? So if Zhang wins around 4, it's plus 16.25. If she wins in round 5, it's plus 20.25. Like, fuck.
The problem is I don't have faith in her to have more cardio than just Andrade.
Oh, yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. Like, I like Zhang. I like her repertoire. I like her fucking versatility she brings. But it's like, in a women's MMA fight, I think it's way more difficult to pick than, like, and I'm not discounting women's. I'm talking about the lighter weight class they are.
Lighter weight classes.
And why there's just less knockouts. That's just my point.
Well,
and
less knockouts, but also, well, unless it's a Jessica Andrade fight lately, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
But also just more variables in lighter weight classes because there's a smaller margin, there's a bigger margin of error, but there's a smaller margin of.
Can I tell you the safe
variety.
Bet? And you already mentioned this. When you're Andrade by unanimous decision, this is fucking easy money. Plus 445.
That's kind of crazy.
That's insane.
Play the fuck
Take
out
it.
Of that line.
Hey, hear this. Andrade by split. This is even worse or better. Split. And guess what, guys? It's in fucking China, right? So Andrade by split majority decision, Chris, is plus fucking 870.
That's not big enough to play a split decision.
Yeah.
If it was like in the 11s, I would play it, but...
Okay. Well, then guess what? Play Zhang by split majority. It's plus 1030.
Fuck that.
There you go.
That's a trash.
Don't do it. But...
to be fair, I'm not touching this card at all. If I was, I would probably play...
Guess what? If we're touching it, we're not asleep.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Although I am staying awake for this theoretically. Well, I'm going to have to edit this fucking podcast, which we've ran so long now.
You're not.
Oh my God. This card starts in an hour and 10
Chris,
minutes.
You're not staying awake by choice, so let's get this wrapped up.
Yeah, this card starts in an hour and 10 minutes, so we're going to wrap this right fucking here.
Dude, basically, you know what's ironic? We hate this card, but it's like one of our longest episodes, and it's like, you guys are fucking assholes.
Well, to be fair, we talked a lot in the first part, and we got real drunk in the second part, so I feel like we had fun. I hope you guys had fun.
Blame McNuggets.
Also blame the Lucky Buddha beer, which I've pounded 3 of during this segment.
Do you like it now, or is it still like?
It's exactly like you expect in a green bottle.
Hey, just like Dennis Green in NFL from 15 years ago, they are who we thought they were, right? So that beer is what you thought it was.
100%. It's legitimately skunked as hell because it's in a green bottle, and it's been warm at Bevmo, so that's not ever good either. But I don't know. I still drank 3
really.
of them.
A fucking dog is barking. Never mind.
Well, anyway, on that note, now that we have had another chaos episode, which we have gotten very good at, Chris, I would like to say, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one here. But if you guys would like to see how many beers we drank during the episode, you can watch us drink them. YouTube.com. I don't actually, we're not the Sound of Violence. If you Google the Sound of Violence podcast, I believe we are the first ones that come up. I would hope. Also, like and subscribe on that. It actually does help us to get more eyes on the show. And shouts to Day Bay, even if he was kind of a dick in the chat, he was still hanging out.
That's fucking great.
I fucks with you, bro. Let's see. Also on Twitter, TSOV Pod. Love everybody that always hangs out. And we always have fun on there. I try and tweet out stuff that we don't always get to during the show, or stuff that would just like, I don't know. You'll see me making a lot of great jokes about the 2 saps with Jake Smith and David Golden, stuff like that. So look out for that. And yeah, other than that, subscribe on whatever format you listen to this on. It helps us out. Give us a rating. It helps us out. I don't know. We do this for fun, not for fucking ratings or attention.
Shout out to Seamus.
Yeah, also shouts out to Seamus for looking around for attention / food. So we will wrap this here. But Chris, you got anything you got to plug until next week?
I want to convince you to come to my house for next week's pay-per-view, but that's going to make the trip from fucking Santee. So it's entirely up to you. See, now I'm putting the pressure on you in front of everyone on the podcast.
So I believe girlfriend Karen is still on overnights next week, which means I might do that, but I might also sleep on your couch. We'll see how it goes.
You know what? You're more than welcome to. But see, I want to do that because it makes the most sense because that card starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Fuck. Then I definitely won't sleep on your couch, and we should definitely do that.
No, see, you should do that, motherfucker, because it's 11 a.m. and you should be up before that because that's not that big of a deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Guess what? Yeah, no, because I work, because I already switched shifts. I work
Smart.
later today at like 4:45, so it's all good.
Cool, man. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, because originally I was under the presumption that it started at 7 a.m., which is bullshit.
Have you double checked prelim times?
I think prelims start at 8 a.m., but whatever. Anyway, 11 a.m. is doable, right?
Yeah.
Come on, it's 11. Yeah. Anyways, I would love to have you there.
For sure, we'll do that.
I'm gonna buy the pay-per-view. Trevor's down. Blake is down. They want to do Bloody Marys. They want to do mimosas.
I'm in, bro. I'm in.
Kyle wants to grill.
Yeah, I'll bring some cigars. We'll make it happen.
It's already next week, dog. Like, holy fuck!
Yo.
Like, that's gonna be a great card. Like,
yeah. So.
I mean, even though there's no women on the card, which is a shame, but, blame certain regions of the world. We'll mention next week. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame. Never mind. I'm not going to get political.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But
yeah. We're like a silent guardian, right? It is what it is. So it's like, God.
On that note, we are officially going to wrap this shit. I'm pounding the rest of this beer. And we are out. Everybody, have a good week. Enjoy the card. I hope you don't watch it tonight like I am. And I hope if you do, you're drinking appropriately, because I wasn't expecting to be this drunk for this card, but
I'll say this. I'll be like Wayne Campbell. I'm not gonna speak Mandarin, but I'll speak Cantonese. Bi sa bi tu wa. Right? I don't even know what that means, but that was from Wayne's World. So shout out to all the people, the Chinese that speak Cantonese, aka Hong Kong. Go beat up a police officer because you're getting taken advantage of. Do it.
And on that note, everybody, we'll see you next week. Gotta do something decadent. Yeah. Bye.
Sorry, dude. You gotta be at the police.
I'm still on. I can't figure out how to stop it. I drank. Oh, there we go. I didn't scroll.